Chapter 9:16. The crystal skull seemed to have come alive. It emitted an even more resplendent light, resisting the blue flames around it. Lin Xian was also extremely shocked. He didn't expect the crystal skull's seal to be so powerful. The blue flame spear just now had threatened his life, but he didn't expect it to fail to break the crystal skull's seal. One could imagine how terrifying the seal of a king was. However, he still underestimated the seal left behind by a king. For 2 whole days, the blue flames couldn't break through the 5-colored light screen. Not only that, but Lin Xian was even more miserable. He suffered for 2 whole days in the blue flames. It was hellish torture. The terrifying flames almost made him faint several times. Fortunately, he gritted his teeth and persevered. Now his body was charred black like charcoal. It made one's scalp tingle. Fortunately, the art of longevity had a terrifying recovery ability. Otherwise, he would have become a dried corpse long ago. However, the hellish burning also had a huge effect on him. His body shook, and the old black skin on his body fell off, revealing new skin. His streamlined muscles were full of power, and his face was sparkling and translucent. Moreover, his skin was more delicate than before. After 2 days of hellish tempering, Lin Xian's body had undergone an earth-shattering change. With his current physique, even if he didn't use any defense, ordinary second-level venerables wouldn't be able to harm him at all. The strength of his body was comparable to those venerables who specialized in body tempering. Actually, this was very normal. The blue flames were too terrifying, and they had a mysterious power. No matter who it was, if they could endure for 2 days, their body would definitely undergo earth-shattering changes. Of course, apart from Lin Xian, there probably weren't many people who could endure for 2 days here. However, what made his teeth ache was that the crystal skull seal still hadn't been broken. F***CK, what kind of seal is this? It's too powerful. Lin Xian's expression was ugly. He had been bombarding it for 2 days, but nothing happened to the crystal skull. Why don't we go in and try again? The Crimson Dragon said. That's the only way. Lin Xian stood up and looked toward the depths of the 7th floor. In that place, there were even more stone forests, covering the entire area. Moreover, the temperature there was even higher and more terrifying. With a flash, Lin Xian left the place and flew into the distance. The deeper he went, the darker the flames became, and the higher the temperature. In the end, even though Lin Xian's body had been tempered for 2 days, he couldn't take it anymore. At this moment, the surrounding flames changed from light blue to dark blue, like the sea of stars, incomparably deep. The heat it contained was also terrifying. Every trace of it made one's heart beat wildly, and they didn't dare to be careless. Lin Xian was sure that even a 3rd heaven venerate would be turned into ashes instantly if they came here. Looking around, Lin Xian was shocked. He took out a mid-grade spirit rank artifact from his storage ring, and in just a short moment, the mid-grade spirit rank artifact turned into a pool of molten iron. This is it. Lin Xian didn't dare to go any further because his body couldn't hold on any longer. If he went any further, there was a possibility that he would explode at any moment. Sitting down cross-legged again, Lin Xian took out the crystal skull and used the previous method to temper his body while bombarding the crystal skull seal. Just like that, another 2 days passed. The crystal skull's seal still hadn't been broken, but Lin Xian's physique had become stronger. Now he could adapt to the temperature of the dark blue flames, so he decided to go deeper. With a flash, Lin Xian moved forward carefully, not daring to go too fast. Not long after, he found that the blue flames around him faded, and a light purple flame gradually appeared. The temperature of this purple flame was even higher. Just a trace of it was enough to make Lin Xian somewhat unable to withstand it. All right, this is it. Lin Xian didn't dare to go any further. He sat down cross-legged and took out the crystal skull. As soon as the crystal skull appeared, the surrounding purple flames were affected and quickly gathered, forming a large purple fish that charged at him. This attack was extremely terrifying. Just the energy shockwave alone was enough to make Lin Xian somewhat unable to withstand it. With a low shout, he quickly used the Red Lotus Armor Phantom to cover his body. Boom! In the void, a bright red battle armor phantom appeared and enveloped Lin Xian like a giant mountain. In the next moment, a terrifying heat wave rushed over and collided with the Red Lotus Armor Phantom, causing a rumbling sound. However, although the Red Lotus Armor Phantom trembled, it still managed to withstand the attack. Seeing this, Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he had the Red Lotus Armor Phantom. Otherwise, with his current strength, it would have been too difficult for him to withstand the purple flames. The purple flames were indeed powerful. The large purple fish that formed violently bombarded the five-colored light screen, causing it to fluctuate violently. The light on the screen also quickly dimmed. Lin Xian was overjoyed. At this rate, it would not take long for the five-colored light screen to shatter. At that time, the seal in the crystal skull would be broken as well. As expected, the five-colored light screen trembled violently as it was enveloped by the light purple flames. The light became dimmer and dimmer. Finally, after a few more collisions, it could no longer withstand and made cracking sounds. The entire five-colored light screen shattered and fell to the ground. It's broken. Seeing the five-colored light screen shatter, Lin Xian exclaimed in surprise. His eyes were filled with ecstasy. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and condensed a fiery red palm of light that quickly grabbed the crystal skeleton. He then pulled with great force and brought the crystal skeleton to his side. Sensing the changes in the crystal skull, Lin Xian was also overjoyed. However, he did not directly examine it and put it away. This place was too terrifying. He had to go to a safe place. With a sway of his body, Lin Xian retreated backward. Soon, he arrived at the area of deep blue flames. Although the flames here were terrifying, Lin Xian could completely adapt to it. Dispelling the shadow of the crimson lotus armor, Lin Xian sat on a stone pillar. Then he took out the crystal skull and examined it carefully. There was no one here anyway. He did not have to worry at all. At this moment, the crystal skull had become even more crystal clear due to the absence of the seal. The five-colored light was very dazzling. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian's soul power gushed out and probed it. However, just as he touched the crystal skull, the five-colored light screen on it suddenly shone brightly and enveloped him. Then Lin Xian felt dizzy as if his soul was being sucked in. In the next moment, as if space and time were distorted, Lin Xian arrived in a strange space. The scenery around him had changed greatly. The blue flames from before were long gone. "Don't worry. This should be the world inside the crystal skull," the Crimson Dragon said. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. Then he looked around cautiously. His surroundings were a little blurry. It was as if the chaos had yet to open. Only the scenery within 100 feet of him was clearly visible. Lin Xian tried to take a step forward. As he walked, the chaotic fog slowly dispersed and became clear. Suddenly, a splashing sound came from below. It sounded like flowing water. Lin Xian's body swayed and flew down. Then a river appeared in front of him. Chapter 9:17. It was a pitch-black river. The black river below surged like a giant black dragon, roaring endlessly. Lin Xian was shocked. He realized that the river below was extremely familiar. It was the famous Blackwater River. At this moment, the Blackwater River was different from what he had seen before. The surging black river was mixed with scarlet blood with a strong, pungent smell. Not only that, but countless martial artists were fighting fiercely in the sky above the Blackwater River. Terrifying energy surged in all directions, shocking everyone. Lin Xian realized that those auras were too terrifying. They were not ordinary martial artists at all, but peerless powerhouses at the 8th or 9th heaven of the venerable realm. These people were extremely powerful. With a raise of their hands, they could tear apart mountains and rivers and shatter the earth. However, these powerhouses suffered a violent impact at this moment. Their bodies cracked open, and blood spurted out as they fell into the Blackwater River. Fallen! That's right, these powerhouses had all fallen. They died quickly like meteors. Lin Xian felt his scalp go numb. He could not believe it. What kind of opponent could kill all these powerful, peerless venerables? He raised his head and was shocked. Above the Blackwater River, there was a huge black lotus. It was like a dark cloud that covered the sky. Above the lotus, countless black-clothed venerables descended. Each of them had a powerful aura and was incomparably cold. There was a black lotus mark between their eyebrows. These people were expressionless as they attacked the surrounding venerables crazily. Not only that, there were many of them. Usually, 2 or 3 of them would besiege a peerless venerable. No matter how strong those peerless venerables were, they could not withstand the attacks of 2 or 3 people of the same level. Therefore, many of them fell quickly. Black Lotus! Lin Xian's body trembled when he saw the Black Lotus. He was completely dumbfounded. Although he had never seen this scene before, he was very familiar with the appearance of the Black Lotus. The Black Lotus that sealed the spiritual vein in his body looked exactly like this. He had almost forgotten about this matter. However, he did not expect to see the mysterious Black Lotus here, inside the King Crystal Skull. What is this Black Lotus? Lin Xian was shocked and looked again. The battle on the Black River was extremely intense. Countless Ninth Heaven sovereigns fell, and even some half-kings screamed as they died. At this moment, a long howl rang out. The sound was so terrifying that it shattered the void. Immediately after, a handsome young man rushed in. He waved his hands and shot out countless pills, which instantly turned into terrifying demonic beasts and rushed in all directions. The scene of the massacre was controlled in an instant. Not only that, the handsome young man took out a black cauldron and bombarded it in all directions. Every strike caused the world to lose its color. Niwa of Gojoseon, 10,000 beasting. Seeing this, Lin Xian cried out in surprise. Seeing Niwa of Gojoseon on the screen, Lin Xian was excited. He felt that he would soon find out why Niwa of Gojoseon had fallen. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian took a closer look. As a king, Niwa of Gojoseon was very powerful. Moreover, he had the 10,000 life cauldron, an earth-rank artifact. His combat strength was heaven-defying. Every time he attacked, a large number of Black Lotus cultivators would die. He was like a fierce tiger that had entered a flock of sheep. No one could resist him. The situation was good. Seeing that the Black Lotus cultivators were about to be slaughtered, the huge Black Lotus in the sky bloomed with a ray of light. Then a finger pressed down like a heavenly pillar. As the finger fell, the mountains and the void shattered, and countless black holes appeared. The surrounding peerless sovereigns were terrified. They were swept by the aftershock of the finger, and their bodies immediately split open and turned into a bloody mist. Even the Black Lotus sovereigns who were still alive were no exception. They turned into ashes in the aftershock of the light. It was too terrifying. This was just the aftershock. The real black finger pressed down on Niwa of Gojoseon. Niwa of Gojoseon roared and activated the 10,000 beasting with all his strength to resist the black finger. In the next moment, the scene seemed to be frozen. Everything in the world disappeared. There was only a pitch-black finger and Niwa of Gojoseon resisting. Poof! Blood spurted out. Niwa of Gojoseon's body was penetrated, and he fell into the Black River. However, he still used the last of his strength to seal the 10,000 beasting. As Niwa of Gojoseon died, the entire scene gradually became blurry and finally disappeared. Lin Xian was completely stunned. He was shocked. He did not expect Niwa of Gojoseon to be killed by a finger. Thinking of this, his scalp went numb. He could not believe it. Niwa of Gojoseon was a king, the top existence in the Tianwu continent. Yet he could not resist a finger. It was hard to believe. The Crimson Dragon also saw this scene. He was silent. A pair of purple gold eyes flashed. No one knew what he was thinking. You saw it. A faint voice floated over. Suddenly, Lin Xian's body stiffened. The hair on his body stood up. He looked back in horror. At the same time, he used his soul power to search around. Don't be afraid. I have no evil intentions. As the voice fell, the surrounding chaotic weapons also changed. A young figure appeared in front of Lin Xian. Niwa of Gojoseon. Seeing the handsome young man, Lin Xian was stunned and exclaimed, "Don't be afraid. This is just a soul imprint of mine." Niwa of Gojoseon said indifferently. Although he looked like a young man, he had an endless vicissitudes of life. Junior Lin Xian greets Senior. Facing a King Realm expert, Lin Xian did not dare to be careless, even if the other party was just a soul imprint. Only at the second heavenly layer? I didn't expect you to be able to break my seal. Niwa of Gojoseon revealed a trace of surprise. I didn't expect a level 2 realm expert to break the seal in the end. However, since you can come here, it can be considered fate between us. Lin Xian looked at the blurry figure in front of him. He was extremely shocked. He had many questions to ask. Senior, what exactly is that black finger? What kind of existence is that black lotus? You don't have to be surprised. Niwa of Gojoseon smiled bitterly. Although you know that a King Realm expert is the peak existence of this continent, I want to tell you that outside of this continent, the world is vast and mysterious. You can't imagine it. And a King Realm expert is not the peak existence there. There are many people stronger than a King Realm expert. The owner of that black finger should be an existence that surpasses a King Realm expert. An existence that surpasses a King Realm expert? A world outside of this continent. Lin Xian was shocked. He did not expect to hear such news. The Red Feather Fish King continued. As for what realm the owner of that black finger is at, I can't say. If you have the chance to reach the King Realm in the future, you will know when you go to the outside world. What about the Black Lotus? What is it? Chapter 918. In the mysterious space inside the crystal skull, white mist floated around. The surroundings were chaotic, and a handsome youth stood proudly in front of him. Although he looked young, his eyes were full of vicissitudes. He was the famous Niwa of Gojoseon. Lin Xian was now standing in front of Niwa of Gojoseon. What is their goal for killing the venerables of the Sky Martial Continent? Lin Xian asked. I don't know the details, but I saw in an ancient book that the Black Lotus seems to be the symbol of an organization, and that organization seems to have existed since the ancient times. I don't know why they exist, but that time it seems to be for the 10,000 beast ding and a map. 10,000 beast ding map? Lin Xian was puzzled. The 10,000 beast ding was easy to understand. After all, it was a complete Earth rank artifact and was extremely rare. As for the map, although he didn't know what it was, it definitely wasn't simple if it could catch the eye of such a terrifying person. Just as Lin Xian was puzzled, Niwa of Gojoseon said again, I don't have much time left. Next, I will pass the power sealed here to you. As for how much you can accept, it will depend on your luck. As his voice fell, the chaotic mist in the surroundings began to roll, forming a thick white pillar of light that rushed toward Lin Xian. Boom! In an instant, the white pillar of light enveloped Lin Xian. Eliminate distracting thoughts and absorb with all your might, Niwa of Gojoseon said in a deep voice. Immediately, Lin Xian's heart trembled, and he quickly circulated the longevity art because he found that the thick white pillar of light was the purest spirit energy. Under the circulation of the longevity art, the spirit energy that was poured into Lin Xian's body flowed through his spirit veins and finally into his spirit sea. However, what shocked Lin Xian was that there was too much spiritual qi for him to absorb. If it was under normal circumstances, it would be fine as he could absorb it on his own. But now it was a kind of instilling state. If it was interrupted, the spiritual power would disappear and he would not be able to get it anymore. What should we do? Lin Xian's mind raced. He didn't want to waste this precious opportunity. But if all this spiritual energy entered his body at once, he wouldn't be able to absorb it, and his body might even explode. Boom! After persevering for a short while, the spiritual power in his body doubled, and he quickly reached the peak of the second-level honorable realm. This speed of improvement was terrifying. However, the crisis did not change. Lin Xian's body was now filled with dense spiritual energy. Finally, he gritted his teeth and tried to communicate with the mysterious little sword. Buzz! A glass-like vortex formed on the mysterious small sword and sucked away the excess spiritual energy. Immediately, the feeling of exploding disappeared. Lin Xian was overjoyed. Without any worries, he could focus on breaking through to the third firmament of the Venerable Realm. With the support of such a huge amount of pure spiritual energy, there was no suspense in entering the third firmament of the Venerable Realm. Soon he broke through. It had to be said that the energy left behind by the King Seal was too shocking. Even though Lin Xian had broken through to the third firmament of the Tao Venerable Realm, the majestic energy had not disappeared and was still pouring into his body at a terrifying speed. Lin Xian had no doubt that if he wanted to, he could continue to increase his realm, but he didn't do so. No matter what, these were all external forces. Although he could increase his realm quickly, the most important thing was to have a solid foundation. If he rashly increased his cultivation by a lot, he wouldn't be able to control it at all. When the time came, his foundation would be unstable, and he wouldn't be able to go far on the path of martial arts. Lin Xian didn't absorb the energy anymore. Instead, he guided it all into the mysterious little sword. At the same time, his soul also entered the mysterious little sword space. He found that the energy that flowed in didn't disappear, but formed a milk-colored ball. At first, the ball was only the size of a fist, but as it gradually grew, it became the size of a basketball. At this time, the majestic spiritual energy in the space also quickly disappeared. Lin Xian knew that the energy of the King's Seal had been poured into him. His body shook, and Lin Xian's soul force returned to his body. Then he suddenly opened his eyes. The two gazes in his eyes were as sharp as swords. With a respectful expression, he bowed respectfully to the figure of the Niwa of Gojoseon. "Thank you for passing on your cultivation, Senior. This junior can't thank you enough." The Niwa of Gojoseon looked at Lin Xian and nodded slightly. Not bad at all. Although your cultivation is a little weak, your temperament is really rare. In that situation just now, I'm afraid that no one can resist the temptation to increase their realm. You should know that the energy of my seal is enough to let you rise to the 5th or 6th firmament of the Venerable Realm. However, you didn't do that, which means that you're very clear-headed and understand your own path of martial arts very well. To be able to resist such a great temptation, your heart of martial arts is very firm. It's really commendable. The words of the Niwa of Gojoseon were full of praise. Indeed, in the face of such a great opportunity, very few people could maintain their rationality. After all, it was very difficult to increase one's cultivation in the Venerable Realm. If one missed this opportunity, there might not be another one. However, Lin Xian was able to resist the desire to increase his realm. Of course, the energy was not lost, but entered the mysterious dagger in another form. As long as Lin Xian was willing, he could absorb it at any time in the future. "Senior, you're too kind. It's already very fortunate to be able to reach the third firmament of the venerable realm. If it's any higher, I'm afraid that I won't be able to control it." Indeed, Lin Xian's cultivation had increased very quickly. It was as if he was sitting on a rocket. It was hard to believe. It had only been 3 or 4 years since he started cultivating, from a little martial disciple to a third firmament of the venerable realm. This speed of improvement could be said to be unprecedented. However, every time he improved, he obtained it through a large number of battles. It could be said that his foundation was very solid, and he did not have to worry about the problem of his foundation. Therefore, this time, he did not rashly increase his cultivation by a lot. Only with a solid foundation could one walk on the path of martial arts for a long time. The Niwa of Gojoseon nodded slightly, then sighed. "I've already given you the power of the seal. If you didn't control it and directly increased your cultivation by a few levels, perhaps the next thing would have nothing to do with you. But fortunately you controlled it. The next thing?" Hearing this, Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat, and he pricked up his ears. Could there be other things besides the power of the seal? Seeing Lin Xian's puzzled look, the Niwa of Gojoseon smiled slightly, then said, "The next thing is not power, but some of my inheritance. Are you willing to accept it?" Inheritance? Lin Xian's head jumped wildly, and his eyes were filled with fanaticism. "My death was very special. Due to time constraints, I didn't have time to leave behind too many martial inheritances, only a complete alchemy inheritance. Are you willing to accept it?" Alchemy inheritance. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He had learned alchemy from Lord Jiu. Back then, Jiu Yu had also taught him based on his cultivation realm. Therefore, ever since Lord Jiu left, Lin Xian's progress in alchemy had been slow. Now, if he had the Niwa of Gojoseon's alchemy inheritance, his attainments in alchemy would definitely improve. Chapter 919. Of course I'm willing. Senior, you might not know, but I'm an alchemist as well. Oh, that's great. I've finally found the whereabouts of my inheritance. But there's one more condition that you must complete for me. Senior, please go ahead. The 10,000 bee sting is an earth-rank treasure that I spent my entire life to find. It's extremely precious, but it's now lost in the outside world. Since you've obtained my inheritance, then you're my disciple. So, you must find the 10,000 bee sting, and it can't fall into the hands of an outsider. Lin Xian's expression became slightly strange when he heard this, and he scratched his head. Master, the 10,000 bee sting is actually in my possession." "In your possession?" The Niwa of Gojoseon was slightly stunned, and then he roared with laughter. Good, good, good. I really didn't misjudge you. You aren't worried, your mind is firm, and your fortuitous encounters are extremely great. My inheritance in the Pale Tao will absolutely not be in danger of being destroyed if I pass it to you." After that, the Niwa of Gojoseon started to pass down his inheritance in the Pale Tao to Lin Xian. This process was very slow, and it lasted for around a day. After he finished passing down his inheritance, the Niwa of Gojoseon's figure became dim, and it seemed as if he would vanish at any moment. "My mission has been completed, and I'll vanish soon. I have no regrets since I was able to leave behind my inheritance." The Niwa of Gojoseon's voice carried a trace of loneliness. "But now that I speak of it, I'm still slightly disgruntled. If your cultivation is able to break through to the king realm one day, then I hope that you can head to the outside world and help me find the owner of that black finger and kill him. Don't worry, Master. I'll definitely avenge you." Lin Xian had a solemn expression. "Yes, even though we haven't been together for long, I believe you'll be able to accomplish it," said Dan Yudon. His figure grew fainter and fainter, and it seemed as if he would really vanish from this expanse of the heavens and the earth. "I obtained this map by chance, and it seems to be something that the owner of that black finger wants to find. Keep it well, and don't let anyone know about it." Niwa of Gojoseon's voice started to become faintly discernible, and his entire body started to disintegrate, turning into countless streams of light. An ancient map floated down from his body, and then the Niwa of Gojoseon turned into a white light and dissipated. "Master, rest in peace," Lin Xian said in a low voice as he looked at the disappearing figure. Since he had obtained Blackfinger's inheritance, he would definitely avenge Blackfinger, no matter how powerful Blackfinger's master was. Moreover, Black Lotus was inextricably linked to him. He really wanted to know what kind of conspiracy was behind Black Lotus. Why seal him? Of course, he knew that an extremely formidable strength was required to solve all of these problems, and it was at least at the King Realm or above. As the Niwa of Gojoseon disappeared, an ancient map floated down from the sky. Lin Xian stretched out his palm and grabbed the map in his hands. He then scanned through it quickly. "This is," Lin Xian exclaimed and looked at it carefully. The map was only the size of a palm, and it depicted mountains and rivers. Obviously, it was not a complete map, but only a part of it. The reason why Lin Xian was shocked was because he had a similar map in his hands. According to the Crimson Dragon, the map recorded information about the heavenly Netherbird. Lin Xian now understood why the Black Lotus organization wanted to snatch this map. The heavenly Netherbird was a demonic beast on the heaven ranking, and it was extremely precious. It was easy to imagine how tempting the things it left behind would be. The Crimson Dragon flew out and stared at the map with joy. "The two maps together are almost half of it. Kid, I have to say that you're really lucky." "All right." Lin Xian shrugged, but he still did not know where the heavenly Netherbird was. "Wait patiently. With your current strength, you won't be able to take it even if you know. You might as well use this time to cultivate." "That's true." Lin Xian nodded, then kept the map. With a thought, he left this strange space. He had gained a lot this time. First, he broke through to the third heaven of the Honorable Realm, which allowed Lin Xian's strength to increase exponentially. He believed that if he were to face the governor of Blackwater City, Shaoli, he would be able to kill him without using the great dragon's sword soul. Not only did his strength increase, but he also obtained the inheritance of the Niwa of Gojoseon's alchemy Dao, which was extremely precious. With the alchemy Dao inheritance, he believed that his attainments in alchemy would increase by leaps and bounds. By then, it would not be a problem for him to refine level 7 pills. "Li Yunfei, you better not let me see you again." Lin Xian snorted, and a figure appeared in his mind. Naturally, it was Li Yunfei, who was ranked second on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. If there had been a big gap between the two of them before, the gap had shrunk infinitely now. Li Yunfei's arrogant attitude from before really made him unhappy. If he had the chance, he would not mind returning the favor. Next, Lin Xian consolidated his cultivation and decided to set off toward the depths of the 7th floor again. Previously, he was unable to resist the purple flames, but now that his cultivation had broken through to the 3rd heaven of the Honorable Realm, he should be able to withstand the heat of the purple flames. Soon, Lin Xian arrived at the light purple flame area again. This time he could completely withstand the heat there. As he continued forward, the color of the flames gradually deepened, but Lin Xian could still withstand it. He arrived at the border of the 7th floor. If he continued forward, he would reach the 8th floor. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian stood at the border and felt a wave of heat that seemed to be able to burn his soul. How terrifying! Lin Xian sighed slightly. It seemed that the 8th floor was not that easy to enter. It made sense. Among all the disciples of Senmu College, Dugu Outyen was the only one who had entered the 8th floor. One could imagine how terrifying it was. Li Yunfei decided to cultivate on the 7th floor. Lin Xian did not insist. Instead, he sat down cross-legged. Bang! 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 Suddenly, a series of low and deep sounds were heard. It sounded like metal colliding, low and crisp. "What's this?" Lin Xian was extremely surprised. He realized that the sound came from the 8th floor. The 7th floor was already very terrifying. Only 2 or 3 people in semi-college could enter, but there was only one person on the 8th floor, and that was Digo Outyin. Could that sound be caused by him? Lin Xian's heart pounded wildly. Would he meet Digo Outyin here? Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Lin Xian circulated his soul power and looked toward the 8th floor. Although he had not learned any special eye techniques, Lin Xian's soul power was very strong. When he poured it into his eyes, he could clearly see the scene on the 8th floor. Through the layers of flames, Lin Xian looked toward the 8th floor. He saw countless deep purple flames flickering on the 8th floor. It was like countless balls of purple mist that filled the entire space. The ground was deep purple, and there were rugged rocks of strange shapes. It was the same stone forest. This time he could clearly hear that the metallic sounds were coming from the depths of the 8th floor. He strengthened his soul power again. Looking carefully, he saw a small mountain in front of him. On the mountain peak was a golden figure. Chapter 920. The figure's back was facing the entrance, so Lin Xian could not see its face clearly. He could only see that the golden figure was surrounded by golden light and had a metallic texture. However, he frowned slightly because he realized that it was not a human body, but a golden feather. Damn! I didn't expect there to be a golden crow here. Kid, hurry up and leave. The Crimson Dragon used some kind of secret technique to see this scene and quickly transmitted its voice to Lin Xian. Lin Xian nodded and withdrew his soul power. Anyone who could enter the 8th floor was definitely a terrifying figure. However, what surprised him was that the golden figure was not Digo Outyin. He withdrew his soul power and transmitted his voice. A golden crow? Could it be a demonic beast inside? He could not be blamed for being shocked. After all, only one person had entered the 8th floor so far. Of course, other than the younger generation, those of the older generation could enter. This shouldn't be the Digo Outyin you mentioned. This is a golden crow. Although it doesn't have a pure bloodline, it's still a crow with the golden crow's bloodline. A crow! Lin Xian was shocked. He did not expect that the golden figure was really a demonic beast. It's not just a demonic beast. It looks like a demonic beast and a powerful one at that. Kid, I advise you not to provoke this kind of person. Lin Xian nodded secretly. This was too shocking. He did not expect that there would be a powerful demonic beast here. Next, he began to cultivate on the 7th floor. However, clanking sounds came from the 8th floor from time to time. Is this guy refining equipment? The Crimson Dragon was suspicious. It used its secret technique to observe the situation on the 8th floor again. Then it frowned. Damn, he's really refining equipment. Kid, don't you want to refine the Red Lotus armor? You can do it here. Do I have to refine it myself? Don't I need a Grandmaster Artificer? Lin Xian was puzzled. You already have the blueprint. Why would you need a Grandmaster Artificer? Besides, your soul power is so strong. The Crimson Dragon rolled its eyes at him. Are you willing to hand over the Red Lotus armor to someone else? Lin Xian was stunned. Indeed, he was reluctant to give such a heaven-defying blueprint to others. However, since the Crimson Dragon said that he could refine it, then he should be able to refine it. In fact, refining weapons was similar to refining pills. They were both inscriptions. Lin Xian's soul force was strong, so he could do this. As for the blueprint, he had the complete blueprint in his hands, so as long as he was careful, he should be able to refine it. However, let's wait a little longer. I want to enter the 8th floor to refine, Lin Xian said. He knew that the better the flame required for refining, the better the item refined would be. Therefore, he hoped to endure for a while longer and wait until he could enter the 8th level before he started refining. After making up his mind, he didn't stay any longer and flew out. However, Lin Xian did not know that the news of him entering the 7th level had already shaken the entire Flaming Mountain. Countless martial artists gathered in front of the boundary steel, looking at the changes in the rankings, exclaiming in amazement. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to make it to the 7th level. Previously, only 2 people had been able to enter the 7th level. Who would have thought that Lin Xian would be able to do so as well? This freshman is incredible. Yeah, he's too terrifying. While everyone was exclaiming in amazement, Lin Xian had already returned to Senmu College. However, when he returned to the freshman area, he realized that the atmosphere was not right. Especially when he saw that Dongfang Xiong and the others were injured, his face darkened. What happened? Who injured them? Brother Xian, Wang Li stepped forward and quickly told him what had happened. It turned out that they were injured by a martial artist called Willow Lance. Willow Lance was ranked 5th on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard and was also Prince Ling Feng's subordinate. When he found out that Lin Xian had destroyed the Wanxiang auction, he wanted to take revenge. However, this time Lin Xian was not around, so he injured Dongfang Xiong and the others. Lin Xian's face darkened when he heard this. His eyes burned with anger. Willow Lance. Does he really think that he can do whatever he wants just because he's ranked 5th? Now that Lin Xian had broken through to the 3rd heaven of the Venerable Realm, his strength had increased greatly. He was not afraid of Willow Lance, who was ranked 5th. Go and gather information on him. Lin Xian said to Wang Li, I'll avenge you. Not long after, Wang Li returned. Brother Xian, Willow Lance, is in seclusion. He should be preparing for the Demon Slaying Conference. Demon Slaying Conference? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. All right, we'll deal with him at the Demon Slaying Conference. The Demon Slaying Conference was a very special event in Senmu College. It was also a kind of trial for the college's disciples. It was said that if one could get a good ranking in the Demon Slaying Conference, they could be baptized in the Demon Slaying Pool. With Willow Lance's status, he probably would not miss the Demon Slaying Conference. Since the other party dared to injure his companions, they had to pay the corresponding price. It was less than a month before the Demon Slaying Conference began. Lin Xian thought that it would be best to refine the Red Lotus armor before the conference. Although he could only refine one glove now, it was better than nothing. Back in the courtyard, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon began to think of countermeasures. With Lin Xian's current strength, it would be difficult for him to enter the 8th level in a month. If he used a special method, he might be able to do it. In the end, the 2 of them thought of a way. They would use the Blood Shadow Doppelganger and the Red Lotus Armor Phantom to refine the Doppelganger on the 8th level. After discussing the countermeasures, Lin Xian did not delay and headed to the Flaming Mountain again. Soon he arrived at the border between the 7th and 8th levels. With a low shout, Lin Xian quickly created a Blood Shadow Doppelganger and used the Red Lotus Armor Phantom to envelop it. The Doppelganger glanced at Lin Xian, nodded slightly, and stepped into the 8th level. As soon as he entered the 8th level, the terrifying purple flames around him burned fiercely and surged toward the Doppelganger. Lin Xian's Doppelganger trembled, but with the help of the Red Lotus armor, he managed to hold on. Under the protection of the Red Lotus armor, the Doppelganger slowly walked inside. Then he found a secluded place and sat down cross-legged. After a while, the Red Lotus armor could no longer withstand the surrounding flames. It dimmed and finally disappeared. The moment the Red Lotus armor disappeared, the Blood Shadow Doppelganger also disappeared. Half an incense stick of time. Lin Xian calculated and realized that his doppelganger could only last for 15 minutes on the 8th level. However, this was enough. As long as he calculated the time well, he could continue to refine the armor on the 8th level. Next, Lin Xian devoted himself to the refining process. At the same time, the news of him entering the 7th level of the Flaming Mountain spread to Senmu College and caused a stir among the other ancient martial art practitioners. When Bing Ling, Dongfang Phoenix, and the others heard the news, they were shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to enter the 7th level. Bing Ling was especially shocked. Her delicate little face was full of shock. She was also an ice-based ancient martial art practitioner, but she could not enter the 7th level. This guy is really a pervert. Chapter 9:21. In a sea of lightning, an imposing figure stood there, receiving the bombardment of thousands of lightning bolts. This figure was Li Yunfei, ranked 2nd on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and waved his hand. A shining talisman flew into his hand. The 7th level of the Blazing Mountain. Interesting. I hope it's not too weak. Li Yunfei smiled. Then, the talisman in his hand burned rapidly. At the same time, in a cultivation room at the bottom of a spiritual tower, there was an abundance of spiritual qi that turned into visible droplets. A figure sat cross-legged in the middle of the countless droplets. It was a young man with a thin face. Although his eyes were closed, he gave off a very sharp feeling. Behind him, there was a blood-red spear that emitted a ferocious aura. Suddenly, a talisman floated into the cultivation room. Buzz! The thin young man suddenly opened his eyes, as if a peerless beast had awakened. The 7th level of the Blazing Mountain? What's so great about that? If I want to, I can also enter. The thin young man smiled coldly. Then, with a flick of his finger, he dispersed the talisman. No matter which level you enter, if you dare to oppose Prince Lingfeng, I'll let you know what regret is. The young man's voice was cold. He was Willow Lance, ranked 5th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. At this moment, he had already entered seclusion to prepare for the demon-slaying conference. The news of Lin Xian entering the 7th level of the Blazing Mountain quickly spread through the Immortal Martial Academy. Countless martial artists paid special attention to it. Among them, many were collecting information about Lin Xian. After all, such a person would definitely be a strong opponent in the demon-slaying conference. As the demon-slaying conference approached, many martial artists started to get busy. Disciples of Senma College could be seen entering and exiting the Blazing Mountain, the cultivation room, the Thunder Sea, and various other cultivation places. The demon-slaying conference was an opportunity for them. Not only could they gain fame and soar, but the final reward was also very tempting. The demonic blood pool contained rich energy. If they could obtain it, their strength would definitely increase greatly. If they were lucky, it was even possible for them to break through to the next level. No one would miss out on such a great opportunity. The 8th level of the Blazing Mountain. Purple flames danced, heat waves surged, and the entire space became incomparably hot. Within the purple flames, there was a figure quietly sitting cross-legged. Outside his body, there was a shadow of a dark red armor that covered his entire body. This figure was naturally Lin Xian's doppelganger. In front of him was a lump of red metal that was constantly changing shape. One could vaguely make out that it was in the shape of a gauntlet. The rough outline had already appeared, and there were fine veined patterns on it. They intertwined and spiraled together, forming a strange pattern. These mysterious and strange patterns were inscriptions. It was these inscriptions that formed the powerful Red Lotus armor. His avatar was refining on the 8th floor, while Lin Xian's real body was sitting cross-legged on the edge of the 7th floor. His eyes were closed as he used his soul force to control everything. More than half a month had passed, and the refining of the Red Lotus gloves had been more than half completed. It would probably take a few more days to complete. Lin Xian's face was a little pale. He had underestimated the consumption of the refining process. If he did not have so many treasures, he would not have been able to persevere. However, the benefits of persevering were great. His soul force was tempered, and his body was tempered by the purple flames. He was incomparably strong. What made him even happier was that a gauntlet of the Red Lotus armor was about to be completed. Just the shadow alone was already very powerful. Lin Xian wondered how powerful the complete Red Lotus armor would be when it was completed. During this time, the golden figure on the 8th floor had also left. The scene was so shocking that Lin Xian almost cried out in surprise. When the golden figure left, 2 huge golden wings appeared in the void. It was like a real golden crow as it streaked across the void. Wherever it passed, golden feathers condensed from spiritual energy floated down. The temperature of the feathers was not any weaker than the purple flames on the 8th floor. Although Lin Xian did not know the other party's true cultivation, it was definitely not weak. It should be a peerless powerhouse. Fortunately, the other party did not pay attention to him. With a flash of his body, he disappeared from the flaming mountain. In the following days, Lin Xian methodically refined the armor, and the atmosphere in Senmu College became more and more lively. The demon slaying conference was finally about to begin. It's going to start in 3 days. Why isn't Brother Xian back yet? Wang Li and the others were a little anxious. Murong Qingqing also snorted. Where did this guy go? Fortunately, Lin Xian finally appeared a day later. He had a faint smile on his face, and his eyes were full of excitement. After more than 20 days of hard work, the gauntlet of the Red Lotus armor was finally completed. He tested its power. It was extremely terrifying and could kill a 4th-level supremacy. However, it consumed a lot of energy. With Lin Xian's current strength, he could only use it once. It could be used as a life-saving item. In addition to its powerful attack, the gauntlet could also be used as a defensive item. It was a part of the Red Lotus armor, so one could imagine how hard it was. He had used up most of the materials to make the gauntlet, but he still had more than half of the Phoenix Blood Scarlet Gold left. He estimated that the Phoenix Blood Scarlet Gold he had was enough to refine the entire Red Lotus armor. However, the other materials needed would have to be collected slowly. Lin Xian was looking forward to seeing how powerful the Red Lotus armor would be when he refined it. 3 days later, the atmosphere in Senmu College reached its peak. Countless people were excited, waiting for the demon-slaying conference to begin. Lin Xian and the others also headed towards Jinwu Lake. Among them, the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were extremely excited. Of course, most of them did not have the qualifications to participate in the demon-slaying conference. Among the freshmen, only Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing, and a few others could participate. However, this did not affect their excitement. Countless members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion surrounded Lin Xian, cheering for Lin Xian. Brother Xian, go for it. Kill everyone and become the champion of the demon-slaying conference. Yes, charge into the top 10 of the Mystic Sovereign Leaderboard and make our Dragon Sword Pavilion the #1 society in Senmu College. Everyone cheered. They had unlimited expectations for Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled and led the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion towards Jinwu Lake. At the same time, a thin figure slowly walked out from the depths of the Spirit Tower. On his back, he carried a blood-colored spear that was taller than a person. His entire body was extremely fierce, and his killing intent was shocking. Lin Xian, right? You better not let me meet you. Otherwise, I'll make you kneel and beg for mercy. Willow Lance sneered. In a flash, he disappeared from the Spirit Tower. He was not the only one. All the powerhouses in the college moved. Chapter 9:22. In the Ice Spirit Valley, Bingling was wearing a blue dress. She looked cold like an ice fairy. Feeling the fiery atmosphere in the academy, Bingling smiled. Then, her figure fluttered and rushed into the sky. In the endless sea of thunder, an imposing figure walked out. Wherever he passed, the thunder and lightning retreated, not daring to get close. Outside the sea of lightning, there was a dense crowd of warriors, waiting respectfully. Seeing the imposing young man, the warriors below shouted, "Boss, you're finally out!" Li Yunfei looked down and nodded. "It's about time. Follow me to the true martial lake." Yes, a loud voice was heard. Countless warriors followed behind Li Yunfei respectfully. As for Li Yunfei, he stood atop the clouds, overlooking the entire Immortal Martial Academy. "Dugu out, Yen. It's my turn to be first on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard." His eyes were filled with confidence. He turned into a rainbow and flew into the sky. On this day, countless strong fighters were on the move. The strong fighters on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard and the strong fighters all rushed to the true martial lake. This time, they wanted to prove themselves. This time, they wanted to soar. The true martial lake was a huge lake. It was very famous. It was said that a black tortoise lived in the true martial lake. It had lived for thousands of years, and its strength was unfathomable. The black tortoise was Senmu College's guardian beast. Usually, the black tortoise would cultivate at the bottom of the lake and would not come up. Near the true martial lake was a vast grassland. At this time, countless disciples were gathered there. When Lin Xian and the others arrived and saw the countless figures, they were shocked. There were too many people. It was beyond his imagination. As expected of the Immortal Martial Academy, it was indeed abnormally powerful. Perhaps this was the only place where one could see so many geniuses. Moreover, there were definitely many strong fighters hidden here. They were not on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing walked side by side, leading the people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion forward. Speaking of which, Lin Xian was considered quite a celebrity, so his arrival had attracted a lot of attention. However, when Willow Lance saw Lin Xian, his face immediately darkened and his cold gaze shrouded the area in front of him. Lin Xian's soul force was extremely powerful. Naturally, he was able to sense the hostile gaze directed at him. He furrowed his brows and looked at the figure. "Older brother Xian, he's Willow Lance." Wang Li whispered from the side. "That's him." Lin Xian furrowed his brows, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. "Don't worry, I'll avenge you." In the past, Lin Xian wouldn't have had the confidence to fight against the 5th-ranked person on the Mystic Venerate list. However, his strength had now broken through to the 3rd sky of the Venerate realm, and he also possessed the Red Lotus armor. His strength had increased tremendously. To him, the 5th on the Sublime Venerate leaderboard was nothing to be afraid of. Looking at Lin Xian's cold eyes, Willow Lance's face became even more gloomy. A mere freshman dared to show his killing intent towards him. He must have a death wish. Willow Lance snorted coldly and looked away. He had already decided that he would teach Lin Xian a lesson at the demon-slaying conference. Lin Xian shrugged indifferently. He wasn't afraid of Lin Xian at all. They had just walked to an open space and stopped. At that moment, a series of exclamations came from behind them. The sound was like a wave that shook the entire area. The clouds in the sky were shattered. The crowd behind them was in an uproar as they exclaimed. Lin Xian and the rest were shocked as they looked behind them. Countless martial artists were flying rapidly in the sky. At the very front was a stalwart figure, Li Yunfei. The disciples below exclaimed. Many female disciples screamed. Li Yunfei's appearance was indeed not bad. His cultivation level was extremely high and his strength was formidable. He was ranked 2nd on the Mystic Venerate list. In the academy, other than the elusive Dugu Outyen, no one could shake Li Yunfei's position. This could be seen from the commotion caused by Yun Lifei. Yun Lifei had attracted a lot of attention. Li Yunfei had a faint smile on his face as he flew quickly. He looked down and frowned slightly. He was looking in the direction where Murong Qingqing was. However, when he saw Lin Xian beside Murong Qingqing, he frowned. In a flash, Li Yunfei arrived in front of Lin Xian. "Looks like you didn't take what I said to you the last time to heart. You don't have to worry about me. Lin Xian was not afraid when he sensed the coldness in Li Yunfei's voice. So you've broken through. No wonder you didn't take what I said to heart. Li Yunfei was shocked. Previously, Li Yunfei was only a second heaven honorable. He didn't expect Lin Xian to have broken through to the third heaven honorable realm in just a few days. However, you're still a little naive. So what if you've broken through? A third heaven honorable realm is nothing in front of me. Li Yunfei shook his head. Then let's wait and see. Lin Xian shrugged his shoulders. Against someone like Li Yunfei, a battle of words was useless. Only by using his true strength would he be able to intimidate the other party. Qingqing, this guy that you've taken a fancy to is nothing much. His strength is not good, but he is very arrogant. Li Yunfei ignored Lin Xian and turned his head to look at Murong Qingqing. It's none of your business who I like. Murong Qingqing's face was cold. It's not that I want to interfere, Li Yunfei said. Do you think he can pass the Shen family's test? Murong Qingqing blushed when she heard this. What are you thinking? It's not what you think. Hearing her words, Lin Xian touched his nose helplessly. Indeed, there was nothing going on between him and Murong Qingqing yet. Although the two of them had feelings for each other, they had yet to reveal their relationship. However, Lin Xian was under a lot of pressure when he heard Li Yunfei's words. It seemed that if he wanted to confirm his relationship with Murong Qingqing, he had to get the approval of the Shen family. However, the Shen family wasn't an ordinary family. It was the House of Kings. Their test wouldn't be simple. Lin Xian shook his head and got rid of his distracting thoughts. These things were too far away for him to think about. At this time, Li Yunfei turned his head again. Since you didn't listen to my advice, don't blame me. You'd better not meet me at the demon-slaying conference. Otherwise, you'll have to suffer. Li Yunfei was calm and didn't say anything harsh. However, his voice was full of arrogance. It was as if he could control everything. Lin Xian was extremely displeased by this haughty attitude of looking down on everything. Is that so? I'm looking forward to it. Lin Xian shrugged and looked like he didn't care. Seeing Lin Xian's indifferent expression, Li Yunfei didn't care. However, the warriors behind him were very unhappy. To them, Lin Xian was nothing. How dare he fight with their boss for a woman? Their boss was second on the Mystic Venerable list. He was invincible. A new student dared to be so impudent in front of their boss. What a joke! Chapter 9:23. However, although they were unhappy, they could not do anything. They could only glare fiercely at Lin Xian. The disciples of the Dragon's Sword Pavilion behind Lin Xian could not take it lying down. Although Lin Xian was a senior and ranked second on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard, there were not pushovers. Dongfang Xiong immediately glared back at Lin Xian. Both sides were angry, so the atmosphere was tense. However, Li Yunfei and Lin Xian quickly controlled the situation. They did not want the two sides to fight at this juncture. Li Yunfei took a deep look at Lin Xian, then left with his people and walked to the other side. After Li Yunfei's arrival, more and more martialists came to the true martial lake. Bing Ling, Yi Yan, and the other powerhouses on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard also rushed over. Of course, other than the famous powerhouses on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard, there were also some unfamiliar faces. However, their auras were just as powerful, not any weaker than Bing Ling and the others. It seemed that these people were the hidden powerhouses. Many of these powerhouses looked at Lin Xian, and some of them were clearly looking at him with provocation. Lin Xian was too famous. First, he had killed Yan Qingfeng and ranked 30th on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard. Recently, there had been news that he had entered the 7th level of the Flame Mountain. Every one of these news had shocked everyone. However, Lin Xian was just a freshman. While gaining fame, he would also encounter a lot of trouble. For example, many people had their eyes on Lin Xian. This was because anyone who defeated Lin Xian would immediately become famous. Lin Xian ignored all the provocative gazes. However, if anyone dared to cause trouble for him, he did not mind teaching them a lesson. Dong! Dong! A deep voice rang out, echoing in the surroundings like muffled thunder. When they heard this sound, the disciples below all quieted down and waited excitedly. At that moment, countless people looked up at the sky. There was a fiery red light in the sky that was rapidly flying toward them. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked over, and a look of shock appeared on his face. He found that the light was a massive feather that was about 100 meters long. There was a red light around it, and it gave off a terrifying aura. At that moment, there were several figures standing on the fiery red feather. Most of them were old men with silver hair. However, no one dared to underestimate them because these old men were all elders of the academy. Every single one of them was extremely terrifying. Although they had restrained their auras, the crowd below still felt an indescribable pressure. On the other hand, Lin Xian was shocked as well. A powerful cultivator. He was definitely a powerful cultivator. He had seen those peerless venerables in the crystal skull. At this moment, the auras of the few old men in the sky were almost the same as those peerless venerables. As expected of Senmu College, "It's really strong," Lin Kun exclaimed. Then he shifted his gaze and looked in front of the elders. There was an imposing figure there. It was a middle-aged man wearing a black robe. He was just standing there, but he was like an ancient mountain that people could only look up to. As the middle-aged man got closer, the crowd became more and more shocked. They felt like they were facing a god, and they could not help but want to worship him. The black-clothed middle-aged man also looked down with a smile. "So strong! I didn't expect Senmu College to have such a person." The Crimson Dragon was also amazed. Lin Xian was shocked. Someone who could make the Crimson Dragon God exclaim in admiration was definitely incredible. "Who is that middle-aged man?" Lin Xian asked. Hearing this, Murong Qingqing's expression turned serious. "He's the vice dean of Senmu College. People call him Dean Xian." "Vice dean? No wonder he's so terrifying." Lin Xian nodded. Anyone who could become a vice dean was definitely a top-notch existence. However, he did not expect the Monster Slayers Guild to send a vice dean. Dean Xian looked down and smiled slightly. Then the red feather under his feet shone, forming a rain of red light that sprinkled down and covered all the disciples. Suddenly, the people below felt refreshed, and the spiritual power in their bodies became pure. "Thank you, Dean." The people below were surprised. Lin Xian was also surprised. He did not expect the other party to be able to purify their spiritual power with a wave of his hand. This method was too terrifying. No matter how he looked at it, this was beyond the means of a supremacy. "Indeed, he's a king," the Crimson Dragon said. "A king? No wonder." Lin Xian was relieved. Although the Niwa of Gojoseon was also a king, he had fallen. Back then, only a soul imprint was left, and he was not a real king. It could be said that this was the first time Lin Xian had seen a real king. The aura was not fierce, but it was very majestic. It was like heaven and earth, and people could only look up to it. I believe everyone is familiar with the Monster Slaying Conference, so I don't need to say much. However, I have to remind everyone that the Monster Slaying Conference this time might be a little difficult. Dean Xian said slowly. He waved his sleeve, and the clouds in the sky turned transparent like a mirror, reflecting an image. Countless mountains and rivers appeared in the image. Everyone knew that the dean had used a special method to create it. There were countless mountains in the image, and 3 of them were the most eye-catching because they were enveloped by a powerful demonic aura. It was abnormally terrifying. What a terrifying demonic aura! Seeing the scene, everyone was shocked, and then they quickly discussed. because only by defeating the last guardian could they enter the monster blood pool and undergo the subsequent tempering. From this image, it could be seen that the guardians this time were absolutely terrifying, and it seemed that there was more than one of them. However, they did not know how strong the last guardian was. There are 3 guardians this time, and their strength is about the 4th heaven of the supremacy realm, Din Xian said. 3. 4th heaven of the supremacy realm. Hearing this, the surrounding disciples were all stunned, and then they burst into an uproar. Damn, it's really a 4th heaven of the supremacy realm? Does it have to be so difficult? One had to know that the top 10 on the Mystic Supremacy leaderboard were only at the 3rd heaven of the supremacy realm. A 4th heaven of the supremacy realm was definitely powerful. Even if the top 3 on the Mystic Supremacy leaderboard were to fight against a 4th heaven of the supremacy realm, they might not be able to win. Moreover, there was only 1 guardian in the past, but there were 3 this time. It could be said that the difficulty had increased exponentially. It would be very difficult to pass the last stage this time. However, if they could not pass, they would not be able to obtain the monster blood pool, and everything would be in vain. Lin Xian also frowned slightly, and his eyes flickered as he looked at the image reflected in the sky. Guardians, he muttered to himself. Although he could not sense the guardians' auras, based on the image alone, they were definitely not weak. They were not weaker than the governor of Blackwater City, Shaoli. Not only Lin Xian, but even Li Yunfei frowned. Although he was powerful and did not fear a 4th heaven of the supremacy realm, he could not fight against 3/4 heaven of the supremacy realm. Even Dugo Outyin could not do it. They had to find someone to join forces to defeat the last guardian. Chapter 924. The other warriors were also discussing. Of course, they were discussing who would be able to fight against the final guardian. At that stage, if the difference in strength was too great, it was impossible to win by relying on numbers alone. There had to be a strong warrior to fight against it. Li Yunfei will definitely be fine, but he can only fight against 1 at most. I don't know what to do with the other 2. Yeah, Dugo Outyin can also fight against them, but he didn't seem to be here. Many people were discussing anxiously. Dugo Outyin didn't appear, which made many people disappointed and anxious. Lin Xian looked indifferent. It didn't matter to him whether Dugo Outyin came or not. At least he could kill one of them. Li Yunfei was also expressionless. He raised his chin slightly and looked at the image in the sky with a confident smile on his face. All right, everyone, stop arguing. At that moment, an elder behind Din Xian stood out and said in a deep voice. Immediately, the warriors below all shut up and waited quietly. Instead of complaining, why don't you think about how to deal with it later? The Monster Slayers Conference will start soon, Din Xian said slowly. Hearing that, although no one said anything, their expressions were very ugly. If Dugo Outyin didn't come, it would be very difficult to fight against the final guardian. In their current situation, they probably didn't have much chance of winning. In the sky, Din Xian flipped his palm and took out a palm-sized disc. There were 12 strange patterns carved on it. In the next moment, the pale golden disc rotated and flashed. The 12 inscriptions floated and imprinted in the void, emitting a mysterious power. The 12 inscriptions flashed and formed a door in the sky, emitting a faint light. I announce that the Monster Slayers Conference has begun, Din Xian said loudly. As his voice fell, the door in the sky emitted an even more dazzling light, as if a world was opening for them. Lin Xian looked at the sky. He knew that as long as he passed through the door of light, he would be able to enter the Monster Slayers world. That was a place opened by Senma College for the Monster Slayers Conference. The others also looked at the sky with solemn expressions. No matter what, they had to give it their all in this Monster Slayers Conference. Just as they were about to move, a long howl suddenly came from behind. Then, a sword light tore through the sky and rushed over. Whoosh! In the next moment, a figure appeared beside the light gate in the sky. He had black hair and black clothes. He was tall and had a black sword on his back. It seems that I've come at the right time. The voice of the young man in the sky was somewhat gloomy. "Do go out, Yen." "It's him. He's finally back." "That's great. This time, our chances of defeating the gatekeeper will greatly increase." Seeing the black-clothed youth, countless warriors cheered, as if this youth was their savior. Bing Ling, Yi Yan, and the other powerhouses on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard looked at the black figure with respect. It could not be helped. Dugu Outyen's reputation was too great. He had always been number 1 on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard, and no one could surpass him. Li Yunfei looked at the sky, his eyes filled with fighting spirit. "It's good that you're here. I thought that there would be no opponents this time. Is he Dugu Outyen?" Murong Qingcheng, Dongfang Fenghuang, and the others looked at the voice in the sky and were deeply shocked. They had heard of this name countless times, but today was the first time they had seen him. Lin Xian squinted his eyes. He could feel that the other party was powerful. What surprised him was that the other party was also a swordsman. "It's been a long time since I've met an expert in the way of the sword." Lin Xian was looking forward to it. Swords were the most common weapon, and it was also the weapon that most people used. However, swords were easy to learn but difficult to master. Although there were many warriors who used swords, there were very few experts in the way of the sword. However, Lin Xian knew that the black-clothed youth in the sky must be an expert in the way of the sword. "Greetings to Dean Xian and the other elders." Dugu Outyen bowed respectfully to the middle-aged man. "You're always the last one to appear. Our hearts can't take it anymore." An elder laughed. "All right, it's good that you're here. Get ready to begin." Dean Xian smiled. Dugu Outyen bowed to Dean Xian again, then turned his head to look around. The first thing he sensed was Li Yunfei's fighting spirit. "Let me see how much you've improved over the past few days." Dugu Outyen's voice became low again. "As you wish." Li Yunfei put away his smile and looked serious. Dugu Outyen nodded and looked around. He glanced at Willow Lance and the others, but other than Li Yunfei, he did not speak to anyone else. Perhaps in his opinion, only Li Yunfei could fight with him. This is... Dugu Outyen suddenly let out a soft cry and revealed a trace of suspicion. The next moment he stared in a direction. Buzz! Suddenly, the Lone Star sword on Lin Xian's back trembled and let out a sword hum that reverberated in all directions. "Good sword," Dugu Outyen praised when he heard the sword hum. Lin Xian was stunned. He did not expect the Lone Star sword to have such a reaction. He immediately circulated his spiritual energy to suppress the sword's trembling body. "Senior Dugu, you may not know this, but that sword's origin is not small. It's a half-Earth rank artifact. However, it's a pity that it didn't fall into your hands. In my opinion, only Senior Dugu is worthy of the Lone Star sword." At this moment, a gloomy voice sounded. As soon as these words were spoken, many people revealed mocking expressions. However, the people from Dragon's Sword Pavilion were shocked. These words were too vicious. Wasn't this clearly trying to sow discord? Lin Xian also frowned and looked to the side. His soul power was powerful, so he could naturally discover the person who spoke. It was a disciple standing behind Willow Lance. At this moment, he was looking over with a gloomy face. The youth felt Lin Xian's gaze, and a trace of disdain rose from the corner of his mouth. However, before Lin Xian could speak, Dugu Outyen coldly snorted in the sky. "You don't understand the significance of a sword to a swordsman. This is your first offense, so I'll spare you. If there's a next time, you know the consequences." This voice was not loud, but it was like countless sharp swords surging in the void, causing people's hearts to tremble. The sinister youth behind Willow Lance turned pale and took a few steps back. A single voice, just a single voice, was enough to injure him. The sinister youth was shocked. Dugu Outyen was too powerful, and he was not someone he could contend against. However, a trace of viciousness appeared in his eyes. He did not dare to clamor in front of Dugu Outyen, but he remembered this enmity on Lin Xian. Brother Wei, don't be impulsive. Now is not the time to make a move. Willow Lance reminded in a deep voice. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. However, once we enter the demon-slaying realm, I will definitely not spare that brat. Wei Tong's face was ashen. Although it was Dugu Outyen who had injured him, he did not dare to find trouble with him. However, he was not afraid of Lin Xian. In any case, he had to regain his face. He could only vent his anger on the seemingly weak Lin Xian. Chapter 9:25. The true Martial Lake was bustling with noise and excitement. In the sky, the demon-slaying gate blossomed with light, and it was getting brighter and brighter. Dugu Outyen swept his gaze across the crowd, and then his gaze landed on the demon-slaying gate. He let out a long howl, and his body turned into a ray of sword light, instantly rushing into the demon-slaying gate. Seeing Dugu Outyen enter, the others were also extremely excited. They all stood up and flew towards the demon-slaying gate in the sky. Li Yunfei also smiled confidently and quickly rushed into the sky with the warriors behind him. Let's go and see what the so-called demon-slaying world is like, Lin Xian said with confidence in his voice. Beside him, Murong Qingqing nodded slightly and followed beside him. Brother Xian, it's up to you. We'll wait for your triumphant return. Behind them, countless warriors from the Dragon Sword Pavilion shouted. Lin Xian nodded, and then flew into the sky with Murong Qingqing. Looking at the countless figures that rose from the ground, Din Xian revealed a warm smile. However, in the next moment, he looked at the scene reflected in the sky. There, demonic energy overflowed into the sky, and the momentum was terrifying. This time's demon-slaying assembly is quite interesting. I wonder if these little fellows can defeat the final guardian? The elders behind him also smiled and said, It's difficult. The guardian this time is much more powerful than before. Even if Dugu Outyen returns, he might not be able to win. Yeah, this lineup is still too difficult for them. They might not even be able to enter the demon blood pool. A few elders whispered, but Lin Xian and the others didn't know about this because they had already entered the demon-slaying world. With a flash of light, Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing's figures appeared. Then the two of them looked around. The surroundings were a little dim, and the light wasn't very good. Because this was a space that was opened up, it wasn't like the outside world that received true sunlight, so it was normal for it to be a little dim. This wasn't difficult for Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing. However, what surprised Lin Xian was that the spiritual energy in this place was abundant, even denser than outside. Although the spiritual energy is abundant, there's no movement in the surroundings. This seems a little strange. We should be careful, Murong Qingqing said. Yes. Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, other than the students of the academy who had entered with them, there really weren't any demonic beasts in the surroundings. Although this place is rich in spiritual energy, it doesn't seem to be a suitable place for martial artists to stay for long. Murong Qingqing frowned. There is still a large amount of demonic qi in the air. If a warrior absorbs too much, it won't be a good thing. In other words, this demon-slaying conference has a time limit, and it won't be too long. Lin Xian stroked his chin. Yes. Murong Qingqing nodded. Let's collect as many demonic cores as possible. Otherwise, when we enter the demonic blood pool, I'm afraid it won't be of much use. The demonic slayers' assembly was a place to slay demonic beasts and obtain their demonic cores. The number of demonic cores would affect the benefits one could obtain after entering the demonic blood pool. Therefore, it was everyone's mission to collect a large amount of demon cores. As for the demon core, it was naturally in the demon beast's body. However, the demonic beasts here were somewhat different from those in the outside world. They were roughly divided into 3 grades: bronze, silver, and gold. Among them, the bronze demonic beasts were the weakest. They were roughly equivalent to a first firmament supremacy. They were the lowest level of demonic beasts in the demon-slaying conference. Of course, this low level was relative. If they were taken out, they would be equivalent to a 1-star demonic beast general. Above them were the silver demonic beasts. They were roughly at the 2nd to 3rd firmament supremacy. However, some powerful silver demonic beasts were comparable to peak 3rd firmament supremacy. Furthermore, the demonic beasts had tyrannical physiques and were cruel and vicious. These were all aspects that gave humans headaches. However, the silver demonic beasts were also the targets of many martial artists. This was because the demonic cores in their bodies were of very high quality, far surpassing those of the bronze demonic beasts. Finally, there were the gold demonic beasts. The weakest among them were equivalent to a 3rd firmament supremacy. The stronger ones were comparable to a 4th firmament supremacy. Ordinary academies were no match for them at all, other than a few powerful individuals. Very few people dared to provoke the gold demonic beasts. However, the demonic cores in their bodies were of the highest quality. Of course, one needed to be powerful enough to obtain them. Let's go ahead and take a look. Lin Xian sensed that there weren't any demonic beasts around them, so he said that. Then, the 2 of them moved and set off towards the depths. As the 2 of them flew, Lin Xian didn't stop probing with his soul power. Suddenly, he raised his eyebrows and revealed a smile. In the mountain range ahead, there was a black shadow moving quickly. Accompanying it was a ferocious demonic qi. The black shadow seemed to have sensed the presence of Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing. It immediately turned into a sharp blade and rushed over. Demonic beast. Murong Qingqing was slightly surprised when he saw the black shadow. However, Lin Xian reached out with his palm. Buzz! Dragon Catcher Hand attacked and caught the demonic beast in an instant. It was a demonic beast that was similar to a wild boar. However, if one really thought that it was a wild boar, one would be gravely mistaken. Judging from the demonic beast's aura, it could easily kill a 1st firmament supremacy. It was a bronze demonic beast. Lin Xian noticed that the demonic beast's eyes were bronze in color and seemed to have a metallic texture. Bang! Without any hesitation, he exerted force with his palm and killed the demonic beast. Immediately, the demonic beast let out a blood-curdling scream. Its body split open and a green light flew into the distance. Trying to escape? Lin Xian flicked his finger and countless sword qi flew out. They intertwined in the air and easily stopped the demonic beast. With a wave of his palm, the sword qi changed into a ball and flew back with the demonic beast. Lin Xian saw that the green light was a nail-sized bead. It looked like a stone and contained energy. Is this a demonic core? Lin Xian noticed that the demonic core outside was different. That's right. This is just an ordinary bronze demonic core. The energy it contains is limited. This kind of thing won't be of much use to the demonic blood pool. Murong Qingqing shook his head slightly. If they wanted to gain the most, they had to find those silver demonic beasts. After entering the demonic blood pool, how much they could improve was closely related to how many demonic cores they collected. There's no rush. Let's figure out the situation first, Lin Xian said. Although they also collected information, the information they obtained was limited. Therefore, they still needed to slowly figure out the specific situation here. Next, Lin Xian and Yi Shiwen set off again. Along the way, they encountered quite a number of bronze-ranked demonic beasts. Lin Xian killed them all with ease. After going back and forth, he obtained 7 or 8 bronze-ranked demonic cores. However, the energy contained in them was pitifully little. This made Lin Xian even more determined to kill silver demonic beasts. With a point of his finger, a bronze demonic beast was pierced. Lin Xian waved his hand, and a bronze demonic core appeared in his hand. Although the quality of the bronze demonic core was not good and would not be of much use to the demonic blood pool, it was better than nothing. As long as it had a little use, Lin Xian would not give up. Hey, there's an aura in front, but it's not demonic qi. Murong Qingqing was surprised and looked forward. Chapter 9:26. If it's not a monster, then it should be a disciple of the academy. Let's go and take a look, Lin Xian said. That's good too. If it's a senior, maybe they'll know something. If we're lucky, we can get a lot of useful information. Murong Qingqing smiled. Fortunately, there were no other men around except for Lin Xian. Otherwise, just this smile alone would be enough to drive them crazy. After discussing for a while, the two of them flew forward. Not long after, they heard a fierce roar and the sound of metal clashing. Obviously, a battle had broken out in front of them, but it seemed that both sides were academy disciples. Soon, Lin Xian saw the situation in front of them, for martial artists were surrounded by more than 10 people and were constantly attacked. They looked very miserable. In fact, this was normal. The difference in numbers was too big, more than twice. It was already difficult for those people to hold on until now. Little beauty, I advise you to obediently tell us the location of the monster lair. That way, you can suffer less. Otherwise, don't blame my brothers for being rude. A sinister voice sounded. The one who spoke was a very fat young man. His long and narrow eyes were squeezed into a slit by the fierce muscles on his face, but they were blooming with incomparable greed. Bah, shameless. Zhao Jie, you can give up on that idea. No matter what, I won't tell you, even if I lose the right to participate in the Monster Slayers Guild. In the field, the girl who was surrounded shouted coldly. Hearing this stubborn voice, the fat young man, Zhao Jie, snorted coldly. Stubborn. Then don't blame me for being rude. Rude? What can you do? Do you want to kill us? Among the 4 people who were surrounded, a young man shouted angrily. Obviously, they were very angry at the other party's banditry. Kill you? Impossible. Zhao Jie sneered. I won't break the academy's rules, but compared to killing, I have many ways to make your life worse than death. As long as I get you back to your original state before the end of the Monster Slayers Guild. Even if the Academy finds out, they won't find trouble with me. However, you will have to bear this miserable process yourselves. Zhao Jie sneered, and the surrounding martial artists also stared at the 4 people in the field with unfriendly expressions, their faces filled with sinister smiles. Despicable, shameless. Su Yu was furious. I am despicable, I am shameless. What can you do to me? Zhao Jie's face was full of pride. Little girl, I advise you to tell me the location of the demonic beast's nest. When the time comes, if I'm happy, I might even give you some demonic cores. Otherwise, in the next few days, I will let you know what regret is. TSK, how thick-skinned. This is the first time I've heard someone admit that they're despicable. At this moment, a calm voice came from behind. F***CK. Which blind fool dares to scold this young master? He must be tired of living. When Zhao Jie heard this, he was instantly enraged. The fat on his body trembled as he glared fiercely behind him. What? Lin Xian! A cry of surprise rang out, and then Zhao Jie's face became abnormally ugly. A deep impression appeared in his eyes that were like the slit of a door. He didn't expect to meet Lin Xian here. The surrounding dozen martial artists were also shocked as they looked behind them with dignified expressions. Although Lin Xian was still a freshman, his reputation was very resounding, especially when he killed Yan Qingfeng in a tyrannical manner. That shocking scene was deeply imprinted in the hearts of countless people. Zhao Jie's face trembled as his thoughts raced. Then he squeezed out a smile. I didn't expect to meet the two of you here. My luck is really good. However, this is between me and that little girl. I hope Brother Lin won't interfere. After I get the information about the demonic beast's nest, I'll definitely share it with Brother Lin. Regarding Lin Xian's appearance, Zhao Jie was extremely vigilant. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he didn't want to provoke him. However, the information about the demonic beast's nest was very important. If they could obtain it, they would obtain countless demonic cores. This was very crucial for them to enter the demonic beast's blood pool in the future. Therefore, Zhao Jie didn't plan to give up on this mission. Moreover, although the other party was strong, there were only 2 of them. They had more than 10 people on their side. If they really fought, it was hard to say who would win. Hearing this, the 4 surrounded people's expressions changed drastically. It had to be said that Lin Xian's appearance was an opportunity for them. It was a chance for them to get rid of Zhao Jie and the others. However, if Lin Xian didn't help, then they would have no hope. Soon, Siyu gritted her teeth and said, Lin Gongzi, if you can help us out of this predicament, I'm willing to share the information in my hands with you. There was no other way. Although the information about the demonic beast's nest was good, they needed to have the strength to enjoy it. Perhaps only Lin Xian could help them out of this predicament. Therefore, Suyu didn't hesitate to offer her conditions. Morong Qingqing smiled at Suyu and said softly, Don't worry, you'll be fine. Although she didn't know Suyu before, the kindness in her heart made her sympathize with Suyu and the others. Moreover, she was disgusted by the way the fat youth acted. Seeing that Morong Qingqing had expressed her stance, Lin Xian shrugged. Sorry, we've already made our choice. I don't think there's any need for you to stay here. What? After hearing this, Zhao Jie's face darkened. A hint of anger appeared in his small eyes. He didn't expect that Lin Xian wouldn't give him any face. Fine. Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me. Zhao Jie gritted his teeth and sneered. His expression was extremely ferocious. Although he was afraid of Lin Xian and didn't want to fight, for the information about the demonic beast's nest, he couldn't care less now. Moreover, he had confidence in the dozen people he brought with him. He waved his hand, and the warriors around him quickly gathered towards Lin Xian. A strong aura also surged from Zhao Jie's body. I'll go save them. You'll have to take care of the rest, Morong Qingqing said. No problem. Lin Xian nodded. As for Zhao Jie, he didn't take him to heart. Seeing how casual the 2 of them were, Zhao Jie sneered. Kid, I admit that you're strong. However, I'm afraid you don't have the ability to deal with all of us. Is that so? Lin Xian shook his head slightly. You've overestimated yourself. After saying this, he turned into a ray of light and disappeared instantly. What? Seeing that Lin Xian had disappeared, Zhao Jie's face changed. He quickly sensed his surroundings, and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. No, he couldn't sense him at all. How could this be? He was a peak 2nd level honorable, but he couldn't even sense Lin Xian's figure. This was unbelievable. What are you looking for? Suddenly, a faint voice sounded behind Zhao Jie. Hiss! Zhao Jie's body stiffened, and all the hair on his body stood on end. He quickly turned around and waved his hand. Chapter 9:27. Zhao Jie's body stiffened, and the hair on his body stood up. He quickly turned around and waved his hand. Although he was fat, his movements were extremely fast. However, Lin Xian was even faster. He hit him on the back and sent him flying. Rumble! Zhao Jie screamed. His whole body flew out like a ball and smashed into a mountain in front of him. He was sent flying before he could react. Until he fainted, 2 words echoed in his mind. F***CK. The gap was so big that he couldn't even imagine it. He wasn't the only one present. There were dozens of warriors, but these people couldn't defend against Lin Xian at all. They didn't even know how he got there. Fortunately, Zhao Jie had fainted. Otherwise, he would have wet his pants. Lin Xian finished off his opponent with one palm. Morong Qingqing wasn't slow either. She quickly knocked down all the remaining warriors and rescued Su Yu and the others. Su Yu and the others were completely stunned. She couldn't imagine that just 2 people could have such terrifying combat power. They destroyed Zhao Jie's entire team in an instant. No wonder Lin Xian was so famous. He was really strong. At this moment, Su Yu didn't know what to say. "Are you okay?" Morong Qingqing asked. "We're fine." Su Yu shook her head and looked at the two with a complicated expression. "By the way, do you really have information about beast lairs?" Lin Xian asked. If this was true, it meant that they would encounter a large number of beasts. In the Monster Slayer world, beasts meant demon cores. Hearing this, Su Yu nodded. There are a large number of beasts in the Monster Slayer world, but this place is very vast. Those beasts generally live alone. If you don't have a way, you won't be able to collect a large number of demon cores. So, after many people's research, they found that there are many beast lairs in the Monster Slayer world. A large number of beasts gather there. If you can control a beast lair, the efficiency of collecting demon cores will be greatly improved. Hearing this, Lin Xian and Yi Shiwen nodded in agreement. They had been walking for half a day and had only killed 7 or 8 demonic beasts. Moreover, they were all bronze demonic beasts. The number of demonic cores they obtained was pitifully small. However, if they found a nest of demonic beasts, then the situation would be different. With their combat strength, they would definitely be able to obtain a large number of demonic cores. By the way, how did you get this information? Lin Xian asked curiously. Junior brother Lin, there's something you don't know. We've been to the demon-slaying realm once, so we're quite familiar with this place, Su Yu said softly. So that's how it is. Lin Xian rubbed his chin. It seems that senior students are treated differently. That's not necessarily true, Su Yu explained. The Demon Slayer's world is very strange. It's different every time you come in. Although most of the places remain the same, there are some subtle changes. So, the information we know is not 100% accurate. Furthermore, it's not like the freshmen don't have a way to obtain information. The True Spirit Palace has a channel to sell this information. What? The True Spirit Palace sells this information. Lin Xian's eyes widened in disbelief. Sure enough, we're still too young. Lin Xian shook his head and sighed. They didn't even know such important information. Seeing Lin Xian's somewhat annoyed expression, Su Yu smiled and said, Junior brother Lin, you don't have to be like this. Even if you know, you might not necessarily buy it. Because the information from the True Spirit Palace is not 100% accurate, and the price is very expensive. So, even if someone knows, not too many people will buy this information. Not to mention whether they're willing or not, the price alone is not something that anyone can afford. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded and looked a little better. If the other freshman could buy it, then he would be depressed. But now it seemed that the situation was fine. Now, we'll tell you the information about the demonic beasts' nests. Su Yu sighed. In front of Lin Xian and Su Yu, they had no competition at all. Although they knew the information, their strength was not that outstanding. In the Demon Slayer world, where monsters were everywhere, they couldn't get many demonic cores. Seeing Su Yu and the others sighing, Morong Qingqing couldn't bear it. She said softly, Senior Sister Su, since you've been here once, you must know a lot about this place. Anyway, it's our first time here, and we're not familiar with this place. Senior Sister Su, why don't you lead the way, and we go to the demonic beasts' nests together? We can work together then. Are you willing to take us with you? Su Yu's mouth was slightly open, and her 3 companions behind her were also shocked. They couldn't be blamed. One had to know that a place like the demonic beast's nests could definitely provide a large number of demonic cores, and demonic cores were directly related to the final demonic blood pool. Most people would want to monopolize the demonic cores when they heard the news. No one was like Morong Qingcheng, who wanted to work together with others. Moreover, with Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng's skills, they didn't need external help at all. Now that Suyu said this, she was completely looking out for them. Of course, Morong Qingcheng smiled. Then, junior brother Lin, Suyu and the others looked at Lin Xian again. To be honest, they were still a little bit in awe of Lin Xian. Don't worry, he won't object. Morong Qingcheng showed a sly smile, and with such a strong fighter, our journey will be much safer. Okay, Lin Xian just smiled bitterly and touched his nose. How did he become a fighter in such a short time? Moreover, he didn't realize before that this girl's love was overflowing. But forget it. Even if Morong Qingcheng didn't say anything, Lin Xian was going to do it anyway. In that case, let's go. Suyu said, the demonic beast's nest, I know, is not too secret. I think there should be others who know about it, so we'd better go as soon as possible. Okay, let's not delay, let's go. Lin Xian also nodded in agreement. Indeed, this information wasn't exclusive, so they had to get ahead of everyone and occupy the demonic beast's nest in advance. The group moved quickly, with Suyu and the other three leading the way. In addition to Suyu, there were 2 girls and a young man. The 4 of them were at the second sky of the Venerable Realm. Their strength was between the peak of the second sky of the Venerable Realm and the third sky of the Venerable Realm. This kind of strength was not weak in the outside world, but it was not enough in the monster-slaying world. Fortunately, with the addition of Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng, the team's combat strength had increased sharply, so they didn't encounter any trouble along the way. The group moved quickly. After about an hour, Suyu and the others suddenly slowed down. Over that mountain, we'll reach the demonic beast's nest. Finally, Suyu's words made Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng excited, especially Lin Xian, whose eyes gradually became fiery. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 6 of them landed on a mountain peak. Then Lin Xian used his soul power and quickly looked ahead. Chapter 9:28. The mountain peak they were on was relatively high, about 100 feet tall. Below them was a continuous mountain range, and within the mountain range, there were black shadows wandering around. Accompanying those black shadows was a monstrous and fierce demonic aura. Demonic beasts. So many demonic beasts. Lin Xian took a deep breath and realized that there were hundreds and thousands of demonic beasts below. It's not just the Qing Tong demonic beasts. There seems to be a big guy inside. Morong Qingcheng also looked into the distance with a hint of seriousness in her voice. Hearing that, Lin Xian looked carefully. Indeed, she could feel a shocking demonic aura in the depths. Moreover, there was a hint of silver luster in the demonic aura. Silver-level demonic beast. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. After searching for so long, he finally found a silver-level demonic beast. The silver-level demonic beast's aura was much stronger than the bronze-level demonic beast's. However, the silver-level demonic beast seemed to be hiding in the depths. Its body could not be seen at all, and only its demonic aura could be vaguely felt. Looking at the hundreds and thousands of demonic beasts below, Suyu and the others also looked serious. Although those were only ordinary bronze-level demonic beasts, which were only equivalent to first-level honored realm cultivators, the number of demonic beasts added together was not a joke. If those thousands of demonic beasts were grouped together, even fourth-level honored realm cultivators would not dare to easily fight against them. However, what made them feel relieved was that these demonic beasts did not seem to be very intelligent. Otherwise, no matter how strong Lin Xian and the others were, They would not dare to fight against thousands of bronze-level demonic beasts. Even so, these demonic beasts were not something they could fight against. I didn't expect this demonic beast lair to be so much bigger than the previous one. In our current state, there's no way we can take down this place. Suyu frowned. Lin Xian also nodded slightly as he pondered in his heart. Indeed, thousands of bronze-level demonic beasts gathered together were very powerful. Moreover, there was a silver-level demonic beast in the depths. If it rushed out, the situation would be even worse. Should we attack? Morong Qingqing looked at Lin Xian and asked. Although there were 6 people in the team, she and Lin Xian's attack power was the strongest. Even if the other 4 people joined forces, they would not be able to defeat them. Therefore, it was indeed a little difficult to make a move now. There's no rush, Lin Xian said with a frown. It seems that we're not the only ones who have discovered this place. Then he narrowed his eyes and looked at the mountain in the distance. The mountain wind was blowing and the leaves were rustling. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but Lin Xian's soul force was powerful. He could clearly sense several sharp fluctuations there. Very obviously, there were cultivators hidden there, and only the students of the Immortal Martial Academy would be able to appear here. With Lin Xian's reminder, Morong Qingqing also noticed the abnormality. However, she was not worried. With her and Lin Xian here, other than a few super powerhouses on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard, they were not afraid of anyone else. In the next moment, Lin Xian said coldly, "Friend on the other side, why don't you come out and meet me?" His voice kept echoing around, but no one came out. Suyu and the others were suspicious when they saw this. Junior brother Lin, could it be that there are other people here? Yes. Lin Xian nodded. He narrowed his eyes and looked around. He sneered in his heart. These people still did not come out. Did they really think that they had not been discovered? Hearing Lin Xian's answer, Suyu and the others were shocked. They had not noticed anything strange at all. Moreover, no one came out when the other party shouted. It was a very strange scene. They even suspected that Lin Xian had made a mistake. Lin Xian did not explain. He said again, "Everyone, there's no need to hide anymore. There are thousands of beasts below. It's not something that can be swallowed by one force. Why don't we join forces?" This time, his voice did not echo in the air. Instead, it split into several waves and went into the forest. Buzz, buzz, buzz! In the next moment, dozens of figures rushed out from the surrounding forest. Their eyes were filled with shock because the voice just now had sounded in their ears. It was obvious that the other party had discovered their exact location. This made them extremely shocked. After all, they were not ordinary warriors. Suyu and the others were even more shocked. Their beautiful eyes were wide open as they looked at the sky in disbelief. They had their suspicions before, but they did not expect that there were people hiding nearby. Moreover, there were so many of them. Seeing this scene, they admired Lin Xian even more. Lin Xian looked at the dozens of warriors that suddenly appeared in the sky. He was also very surprised because he could clearly feel that there were real masters among them, as expected of the demon slayer world. Such powerful warriors had already appeared. Lin Xian was amazed. Judging from the other party's aura, their strength did not seem to be weaker than Bingling, Yian, and the others. "I'm Lin Xian. How should I address you?" Lin Xian smiled faintly at the sky. Lin Xian. Hearing this name, the warriors in the sky were shocked. They looked at Lin Xian deeply. This name was not unfamiliar to them. In fact, it could be said that it was extremely familiar to them. However, they had only heard of his name and had never seen him in person. This time they were extremely shocked when they saw how young Lin Xian was. "I've heard of Brother Lin's name for a long time, but this is the first time I've seen you. I didn't expect Brother Lin to be so young." A young man in a yellow robe smiled and said, "My name is Yang Hao. These are my brothers." Then he pointed at the 8 or 9 people behind him. Indeed, Lin Xian was too young. It was beyond everyone's imagination. Although he was a freshman, in their opinion, Lin Xian was at least 25 or 26 years old. Now, it seemed that he was at most in his early 20s. He might even be younger than that. "I'm Chen Feng." In another team, a young man in purple cupped his fists and said, "Su Lai." Another young man said indifferently with a trace of arrogance in his voice. The 3 of them were the strongest. They were all at the 3rd heavenly layer of the Venerable Realm. Clearly, they were the leaders of the 3 teams. Therefore, Lin Xian only needed to discuss with the 3 of them. Lin Xian said slowly, "There are thousands of demonic beasts down there. I'm sure everyone knows that a single team won't be able to take them down. Why don't we work together and take down this demonic beast lair?" After hearing this, the 3 of them pondered for a moment. Clearly, Lin Xian was telling the truth. Among them, Yang Hao and Qin Feng did not say anything, but the young man called Su Lai had a cold smile on his face. "The 3 of us arrived here first. If we want to work together, it should be the 3 of us. I'm afraid it's none of your business." Although he did not object to the idea of working together, he excluded Lin Xian and the others. Clearly, Su Lai did not want to work with Lin Xian. There were only so many demonic beasts down there. If they worked with one less force, they would be able to get more demonic cores. Moreover, in Su Lai's opinion, Lin Xian's team of 6 did not have much strength. Apart from Lin Xian and Murong Qingcheng, the other 4 were not worth mentioning. Such a team would only be a burden if they had them. Chapter 9:29. Su Lai didn't know what the other 2 were thinking, but since he thought so, he said it out loud. Because his team had more than a dozen people, it was the largest team, so he didn't have to worry about anything. Hearing this, Su Yu and the others' faces darkened. If Su Lai didn't want to work with them, it would be easy for him to kick them out. After all, Su Lai had more than a dozen people, and they only had 6 people. Moreover, Su Lai wasn't someone like Xiao Jia, so they were no match for Su Lai. Moreover, Su Yu and the others guessed that it was probably because they were weak that they were ridiculed like this. "Junior brother Lin, we're sorry. We're dragging you down." Su Yu smiled bitterly. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing's strength was unquestionable, but the 4 of them were obviously weaker and had become a burden. "Senior sister Su, you think too much. Don't worry, let Lin Xian handle this." Murong Qingqing comforted. "All right." Su Yu sighed. In the current situation, they couldn't make the decision, so they could only listen to Lin Xian's decision. However, if Lin Xian gave up on the nest now, they wouldn't blame him. After all, Su Lai was too strong. Lin Xian's face darkened and his eyes flashed. "That's a bit too much." "All right, since junior brother Lin insists on staying, I'll give you a chance. With your team strength, it's impossible for you to charge. Why don't you help us from the side? When the time comes, each of you will be given 20 monster cores. What do you think?" Hearing this, Su Yu and the others smiled bitterly. 10 monster cores? Was this for beggars? Even if they weren't in the nest, they would have more than that if they walked around outside. Murong Qingqing's face turned cold. Su Lai was too arrogant, and she couldn't stand it anymore. However, since she had let Lin Xian handle it, she could only snort. 20? Lin Xian smiled. "Looks like brother Su doesn't take me seriously. Or do you think we're easier to deal with?" At the end of his speech, Lin Xian's voice gradually turned cold with a hint of killing intent. Su Lai was secretly on alert when he felt this sharp aura. Although he was a little arrogant, he was not stupid. He had heard of Lin Xian's name before. He was also an existence that could not be underestimated. However, this was not a one-on-one fight. He had more than 10 brothers behind him. If they really fought, he was 100% confident that he could take down the other party. 20 demon beasts per person is already quite a lot. If you want more, you'll have to prove your strength. Su Lai sneered. Obviously, he did not intend to give in. Strength? Since Brother Su wants to experience it, then I'll show you a thing or two. After saying that, Lin Xian took a step forward. The smile on his face disappeared, and his entire person became fierce. Su Lai's pupil shrank when he sensed the other party's aura. He was no longer laughing. His entire person was extremely dignified. The warriors behind him also placed their hands on their weapons, ready to attack at any time. If you can take one of my attacks, I don't want a single demon core. I'll be your support for free. Take one of your attacks? How arrogant! Hearing the other party's words, Su Lai was furious. Although he admitted that Lin Xian was in the limelight, it was impossible for him to be intimidated by one attack. All right, let me see if your strength is on par with your reputation. Su Lai sneered. However, before he could finish his sentence, he saw a flash of sword light. It tore through the void and instantly slashed towards him. It was accompanied by a terrifying sword will. Seeing this, Su Lai's pupil shrank. He did not expect the other party to attack so quickly and decisively. However, he was no weakling. He immediately snorted and quickly circulated his spiritual energy, forming a purple light screen in front of him. As soon as the light screen was formed, the sword chi in the sky rapidly descended and slashed the purple light screen violently. Chi, like tearing a piece of cloth. The fierce sword chi easily tore the purple light screen apart and brushed past his body. The fear of death swept through Su Lai's heart, and his entire body froze. A strand of black hair fell from the sky. Su Lai was not injured, but the shocking sword essence made his face extremely pale. Beside him, Yang Qin and Qin Feng looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Moreover, they knew that Lin Xian had definitely been merciful with that attack. Otherwise, it was hard to say whether Su Lai could still stand. Su Lai was stunned. The people behind him were even more shocked. They knew Su Lai's strength, but now he could not even take one attack. What did this mean? Everyone looked at Lin Xian with deep fear in their eyes. Now, can we reconsider the allocation? Lin Xian put away the wind shadow sword and said slowly, I was reckless before. Let's do as junior brother Lin said. Su Lai quickly said. The sword just now made his heart jump. He was not a fool. Naturally, he knew that Lin Xian had been merciful. Otherwise, he would have been seriously injured. Therefore, he could only obediently agree with Lin Xian's suggestion. We also have no objections. Yang Qin and Qin Feng also quickly said. Originally, they did not intend to refute. Now that they had seen Lin Xian's strength, they would not object. In that case, let's begin. We will work together to encircle and suppress the monsters below. As for how many monsters we can take, it will all depend on your ability. Hearing this, Yang Qin and the others nodded in agreement. Su Yu and the other three looked at Lin Xian with gratitude. If it were not for Lin Xian, they would not have had the chance to join. Powerful auras burst out. Yang Lin and the others looked dignified and were ready to attack. Just as they were rushing down to kill the demonic beasts in the distant mountain range, there were a few figures coldly observing everything. They have made their move. Should we make our move too? A flirtatious voice was heard. No hurry. Let them deal with the bronze monsters in the periphery first. Soon, another steady voice said, Su Lai and the others are nothing to be afraid of. However, that guy called Lin Xian has some strength. That sword was amazing. No matter how amazing he is no match for us. We have been hiding for so long. Now, it's time to show our true strength. The flirtatious voice was heard again. If we rush to the top 10 of the Mystic Honorable Board, I wonder if we will shock everyone? Of course. With this speed, we can break the record. I can't wait. The two of them whispered to each other. Their words were full of confidence. It was not difficult for them to rush to the top 10 of the Mystic Honorable Board. Chapter 930. But Big Brother, aren't we being a little cruel by doing this? I think so too. Why don't we compensate each of them with 10 demonic cores as compensation? I'm very generous. The deep voice sounded again. Hee, I think they will be grateful to Big Brother when the time comes. If Su Lai and the others heard this, they would probably vomit blood on the spot. 10 demonic cores were not even enough to appease a beggar. This was a blatant humiliation. However, they did not hear it because they had already rushed to the nest of the demonic beasts. Lin Xian and the others went all out, unleashing a powerful aura that rushed down like a storm. The bronze demonic beasts below roared. They felt the aura of the humans and immediately became furious. One by one, they roared at the sky as a majestic demonic chi surged out of their bodies. Many demonic beasts even rushed into the sky. Although these bronze demonic beasts were not very intelligent, they were not without intelligence. At this moment, when they saw the humans, they naturally understood what was going on, so they roared out one by one. In just an instant, hundreds of figures rushed towards Lin Xian and the others. Although they were bronze demonic beasts, this formation was not to be underestimated. Go! Without needing Lin Xian's order, Su Lai and the others gave the order one after another. The warriors behind them also quickly drew their weapons and launched a fierce attack towards the demonic beasts. These people were very powerful, and at this moment they attacked with all their strength. Their attacks were extremely fierce, and any demonic beasts that were enveloped by the sword light were instantly cut in half. From the corpses, demonic cores that were suffused with a faint green light surged out. It was extremely tempting. Seeing these demonic cores, countless people's eyes turned red. They had searched outside for so long and only found a dozen demonic cores. Now they had obtained dozens of demonic cores in just an instant. This speed was absolutely terrifying. No wonder so many people were willing to search for the demonic beast's nest. This efficiency was simply heaven-defying. Lin Xian also quickly attacked. Azure cold air surged and spread in all directions. Countless frost quickly swept in all directions. All the demonic beasts that were touched by the blue frost all moved slowly and finally turned into ice sculptures. In the next moment, Lin Xian flicked his finger slightly, and a sword wave spread out and blasted towards the ice sculptures. Pung pung pung. With a single strike, countless ice sculptures shattered. Bronze demon cores flew out and were collected by Lin Xian. Su Yu and the others saw this scene and exclaimed again. Although these were only bronze beasts, there were so many of them that they couldn't be underestimated. But who would have thought that Lin Xian would actually be so ferocious, killing a bunch of them in one move? Not only Lin Xian, but in the next moment, they saw Murong Qingqing attack as well. Dazzling palm images appeared in the air, bringing with them a mysterious aura as they blasted out in all directions. As expected, countless bronze beasts were torn apart. His harvesting speed was in no way inferior to Lin Xian's. Su Yu was stunned. She didn't know what to say. The 4 of them were fast, but compared to Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing, they were much slower. It had to be said that the 2 of them were really terrifying. In addition to Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing, the other 3 teams also moved forward rapidly, quickly harvesting the bronze beasts below. The 4 teams rushed down together from 4 directions, and their target was the silver-level demonic beasts in the depths of the nest. If they could kill a silver-level demonic beast, the number of demon cores they would obtain would definitely surpass the total number they had obtained before. The 4 teams rushed forward quickly, all wanting to gain the upper hand. However, Lin Xian soon noticed that something was wrong, because they found that most of the bronze beasts around them were rushing towards them. As a result, their speed was greatly reduced. Damn it, how could this be? Su Yu's face was ugly. She felt that the pressure around them was getting stronger and stronger. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. It's those people. They reduced their attack output, so these beasts think that we are the biggest threat and are all rushing towards us, Morong Chingching said in a deep voice. How can they be so shameless? We agreed to work together, but now they are framing us. Su Yu and the others were furious. Lin Xian was very calm. They had formed the cooperation on the spur of the moment. How could this kind of relationship be strong? Especially when they had to face the strong temptation of silver-level demonic beasts. Therefore, he wasn't surprised at all. Moreover, in Lin Xian's opinion, their goal of cooperation had been achieved. Although there were a large number of bronze beasts surrounding them, compared to entering alone, these bronze beasts were not worth mentioning. After all, no matter how little the three forces attacked, they still attracted a lot of beasts. Therefore, the current situation seemed dangerous, but Lin Xian was fully capable of handling it. Ignore them. It's better for us if they don't come to fight for the bronze beasts, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. With his soul power, he could naturally feel the strong demonic aura in the depths of the nest, and it seemed that there was more than one silver-level demonic beast. He was afraid that the other party wouldn't succeed so easily. Since Lin Xian had spoken, Su Yu and the others didn't object. Instead, they calmed down and started to kill the bronze beasts around them. Just as Lin Xian and the others were going all out to kill the bronze beasts, the other three teams were like arrows that had been released from a bow, quickly dashing into the depths of the nest. Humph, idiot. No matter how many bronze beasts there are, they can't compare to the demonic core of a silver-level demonic beast. Seeing that Lin Xian and the others didn't chase after them, Su Lai sneered. That's right. No matter how powerful that kid is, he is still a freshman. Maybe he doesn't even know about the existence of silver-level demonic beasts. Behind him, the other martial artists were also mocking him. Let's go. Don't worry about them. Let's get the silver-level demonic beasts first. Su Lai snorted coldly and led the team to speed up. Looking at the three teams getting further and further away, Lin Xian sneered and looked away. He didn't think that those people could take all the silver-level demonic beasts. Looking away, Lin Xian started to attack with all his might. A blue ice lotus bloomed on his fingertip and quickly grew in size, covering the entire area. Countless cold chi surged, turning the entire area into a world of ice and snow. The demonic beasts that were swept by the cold chi turned into ice cubes. The rest of the demonic beasts didn't fare well either. They were all affected by the cold chi, and their movements slowed down. Seeing this, Su Yu and the others were overjoyed. They weren't newbies. If their opponents slowed down in this kind of battle, it would be a great advantage for them. Immediately, the four of them attacked with all their might. Dazzling and terrifying attacks flew across the sky. Countless energy surged like waves. Lin Xian and the others worked together and quickly harvested the bronze beasts. Junior brother Lin, we have already gotten 700 bronze demonic cores. Su Yu cheered excitedly. This number had long exceeded their expectations. Chapter 931. However, they knew that if it weren't for Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng, they wouldn't have been able to obtain so many demonic cores. Lin Xian's side also had a bountiful harvest of over 1,000 demonic cores. Morong Qingcheng's harvest was about the same as Lin Xian's. It could be said that everyone returned with a bountiful harvest this time. Lin Xian put away the ice lotus and looked around. At this moment, the number of demonic beasts had decreased rapidly, and a large area of empty space had appeared. Most of the demonic beasts had been killed, and Lin Xian had no intention of attacking the remaining demonic beasts. Bang! Suddenly, the ground shook as if there was an earthquake. Terrifying cracks emerged from the depths of the demonic beast lair and spread in all directions. Terrifying and shocking demonic chi swept in all directions. Along with it, there were countless angry roars and violent spiritual energy. Seeing this, all 6 of them looked into the depths of the lair. They knew that the 3 teams must have fought with the silver-level demonic beasts. "Let's go and take a look," Lin Xian said quickly. Anyway, most of the demonic beasts here had been killed, so there was no point in staying here. Nodding slightly, Murong Qingqing and the others followed behind Lin Xian. As most of the bronze-level demonic beasts had been killed, they didn't encounter much resistance as they entered the depths of the lair. Soon, Lin Xian and the others saw the scene in front of them. In front of them, the 3 teams stood in 3 different directions with solemn expressions. Many of them were injured, and there was a faint smell of blood in the air. It was obvious that they had suffered a great loss in the battle just now. Opposite the 3 teams, there were several tall figures. Their bodies were suffused with silver light, which shrouded their huge bodies. However, one could vaguely see their ferocious and terrifying appearances. Lin Xian looked and saw that there were a total of 7 demonic beasts. 7 silver-level demonic beasts. Su Yu and the others gasped in shock. This lineup was already very terrifying. 6 light, silver demonic beasts were equivalent to ordinary 3rd Heaven Venerables, and 1 pure silver demonic beast was equivalent to a peak 3rd Heaven Venerables. The combination of these 7 demonic beasts was absolutely shocking. No wonder there would be such a terrifying tremor, and no wonder the 3 teams would be injured. In front of these 7 silver-ranked demonic beasts, no one would be able to do anything. Should we make a move? Su Yu and the others looked solemn. Although they might not be able to defeat him, they had to try their best. No need. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. Don't they like first come, first served? Let them fight first. We'll just watch. Lin Xian's lips curled into a sneer. Didn't the other party want to take it all for himself? Let's see if the other party can spit it out. If the 3 teams hadn't done that before, perhaps Lin Xian would have joined forces with them to fight against these silver-ranked beasts. But now Lin Xian would never forgive these people for abandoning them just because they wanted to take everything for themselves. Su Lai and the others naturally saw Lin Xian. They were overjoyed and their eyes lit up. They had seen Lin Xian's skills, and he was definitely not weaker than them. Besides, Murong Qingqing was beside him, and he was also a genius. If they had the help of these 2 people, their chances of winning would be much higher. However, they soon frowned because they saw Lin Xian and the others standing aside and watching quietly. They didn't seem to have any intention of helping. Junior brother Lin, what are you waiting for? Let's do it. Let's take down these 7 silver-ranked demonic beasts together. Yeah, 7 silver-ranked demonic beasts. We're definitely going to make a fortune this time. Su Lai and the others shouted. Yang Cheng and Qin Feng were silent. They could guess why Lin Xian didn't attack immediately. It probably had something to do with the fact that they abandoned Lin Xian and the others. Thinking of this, they looked at each other and sighed. They were blinded by greed and wanted to take the demonic beasts for themselves. But now, it seemed that their decision was a mistake. Hearing Su Lai's voice, Su Yu was furious. She had never seen such a shameless person. Now you have the nerve to talk about joining forces? Who was it that left us behind? This is the first time I've seen such a shameless person. He's too shameless. He just did something wrong to us, and now he wants to join forces with us? Don't you think it's ridiculous? Su Yu and the others were furious. Hearing this, Su Lai and the others' faces darkened. Indeed, they abandoned Lin Xian and the others in order to take the demonic beasts for themselves. However, being reprimanded by 4 second sky venerables made him feel embarrassed. He immediately snorted. Junior brother Lin, now's not the time to be impulsive. I advise you to join forces with us. Otherwise, no one will get the silver-ranked demonic beasts. I think you'd better not multitask." Lin Xian shrugged and pointed to the front. Seeing Lin Xian's action, Su Lai's heart raced. He had a bad feeling. They were so focused on persuading Lin Xian that they forgot that there were 7 beasts in front of them. In the next moment, a terrifying hurricane came. It was mixed with countless silver light blades, and it quickly rushed towards the 3 teams. The momentum was terrifying. Everywhere it passed, the ground was smashed into pieces. As the hurricane roared, everyone's faces darkened. Many people were engulfed by the hurricane. They screamed and were blown away. Suddenly, a mermaid-like monster with silver scales all over its body turned into a beam of silver light and slammed into Su Lai. Bang! A deep sound was heard. The terrifying force tore the void apart. Su Lai's face changed. His body trembled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was blown away like a kite with a broken string. "Boss!" Seeing this, many martial artists exclaimed and retreated. Even the most powerful Su Lai was blown away. They were no match for the demonic beasts. Yang Qing and Qin Feng felt their scalps tingle. They quickly led their teams to a safe place. However, they did not leave. Instead, they confronted the silver-level demonic beasts again. Obviously, no one was willing to give up on the temptation. Seeing this one-sided situation, Lin Xian shrugged. Murong Qingqing was expressionless. Su Yu and the rest were excited. Obviously, the impact just now was very satisfying for them. Su Lai got up from the ground. Ignoring the mockery of Su Yu and the rest, he looked at Lin Xian again. "Junior brother Lin, we were wrong before. We were too greedy. However, I think we should work together this time. Otherwise, even if we lose, you won't be able to take down these silver-level demonic beasts." Hearing this, Yang Qing and Qin Feng looked over with hope in their eyes. However, Lin Xian smiled and shook his head. "You think too much. Who says we can't take them down?" Hearing this, everyone was stunned, especially Su Lai, whose mouth kept twitching. He was going crazy. He cursed in his heart. "Damn you! What do you think these are? Cabbages? There are 7 silver-level demonic beasts. How can you take them down with just 6 people?" Chapter 932. After all, the 3 teams were extremely powerful when they teamed up. However, they still failed to take down the beasts. And now, Lin Xian said that they could do it alone? Su Lai thought it was hilarious. Qin Feng and Yang Qing also had a strange look on their faces. Clearly, they did not believe Lin Xian's words. However, they only dared to curse in their hearts. They did not dare to say it out loud. Taking a deep breath, Su Lai suppressed the anger in his heart to ensure that he would not go berserk. "Junior brother Lin, don't joke around. There are 7 beasts, and one of them is at the peak of the 3rd heaven of the honorable realm. I'm afraid the 6 of you can't take them down. You don't have to worry about that. If you don't believe me, you can watch from the side." Having said that, Lin Xian ignored them and turned to look at the 7 silver-level beasts in front of him. Seeing this, Qin Feng and the rest twitched their mouths in disbelief. Su Lai snorted and said eerily, "All right, I'll see how junior brother Lin deals with 7 silver-level beasts." Then he waved his sleeve and led his team to watch the show. In his opinion, Lin Xian could not fight against so many beasts. Lin Xian's actions were undoubtedly to show off. In his opinion, Lin Xian would definitely fail. He wanted to know what Lin Xian's expression would be after he failed. Moreover, he might not even need to beg Lin Xian and the rest. Lin Xian would come and beg them to team up. By then, they could use the opportunity to make unreasonable demands. Thinking of this, Su Lai smiled evilly. He could not wait to see Lin Xian's expression when he failed. Qin Feng and Yang Qing did not say anything. They led their teams to the side. Su Yu and the rest came back to their senses and asked in shock, "Junior brother Lin, are we really going to fight against the 7 silver-level beasts?" Su Yu and the rest were shocked. Even Su Lai and the other 2 teams could not fight against them. Now, Lin Xian wanted to fight them alone. Not only that, if anything happened during the fight, Su Lai and the rest would not hesitate to add insult to injury. However, Lin Xian grinned. "Don't worry, I am confident. Morong, I'll leave those 6 silver demonic beasts to you. Help me restrain them. Don't worry, no problem." Morong Qingqing nodded. She had unlimited confidence in Lin Xian. With Morong Qingqing assisting from the side, Lin Xian was able to relax. This way, he could focus on dealing with the pure silver-colored demonic beast. In the next moment, he took out the black package on his back and slowly opened it. Then, a sharp aura gushed out, and countless sword shadows appeared in the void. What a powerful aura! That's a half-Earth rank artifact. Everyone was shocked when they felt that sharp aura. Then, they suddenly remembered that Lin Xian still had a half-Earth step artifact in his hand. That kind of weapon was exceptionally powerful, enough to multiply Lin Xian's attack power. Lin Xian's movements were very gentle. He slowly opened the black package and took out the Lone Star Sword. The moment he held the Lone Star Sword, his aura became unusually sharp. It was as if a peerless divine sword was quickly awakening. The silver-colored demonic beasts on the opposite side felt this aura and roared anxiously. They turned into numerous silver lights and rushed over. Seeing those silver figures, Morong Qingqing's body swayed and rushed forward. Her palms danced, and the shadows of her palms were like butterflies flitting through flowers. They quickly enveloped the 6 silver-colored demonic beasts. What? She wants to fight against 6 silver-colored demonic beasts alone? Seeing Morong Qingqing's actions, everyone was stunned. Then Su Lai sneered. Although he knew about Morong Qingqing's reputation, it was limited to her beauty and status. As for her strength, he did not agree. However, Morong Qingqing ignored the gasps around her. Her jade-like hands fluttered, and the shadows of her palms blasted out. Bang! A deep sound was heard. The silver-colored demonic beast at the front was the first to be hit. It was hit by the shadows of the palms and was sent flying hundreds of meters away. It crashed into the mountain behind it, creating a terrifying crater. The other 5 silver-colored demonic beasts were also hit by the wind of the palms. They swayed and could not get close. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned, especially Su Lai and the others. Their eyelids twitched, and their faces were filled with shock. They did not expect the beautiful girl to have such terrifying strength. Just as Morong Qingqing was restraining the 6 silver-colored demonic beasts, Lin Xian also held the Lone Star Sword. A terrifying sword intent rose from his body. A dazzling sword qi gushed out from his body and shot up into the sky. It carried a terrifying killing intent as it swept across the area. Feeling the sword qi, many people's hearts raced. A sense of fear rose in their hearts. The handsome young man in front of them was too terrifying. His strength was much stronger than when he fought with Heian Qingfeng. On the opposite side, the pure silver-colored demonic beast naturally felt the sharp aura as well. It immediately roared uneasily. It was a demonic beast that was more than 2 meters tall. Its body was covered with silver scales that shone brightly. It looked like a strange fish that was standing upright. It was very strange. In its hand was a silver trident. With a furious roar, the strange silver-colored fish rushed over. It was like a silver stream of light, stabbing towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian took a deep breath. A powerful sword intent burst out from his eyes. In the next moment, he held the Lone Star Sword tightly and slashed out. A dazzling sword qi flew out. It carried an extremely terrifying aura as it quickly slashed forward. The huge sword qi slashed down, enveloping everything in front of it. Rumble. The sword chi flashed, and countless waves of chi rolled. It was so bright that everyone could not open their eyes. Only when the sword chi disappeared did everyone open their eyes. They could not wait to look forward. Then their pupils constricted. Their faces were filled with shock as they stood rooted to the ground. In front of them, Lin Xian stood proudly. From under his feet, a huge crack spread into the distance, splitting the ground in half. The strange silver-colored fish was cut in half. Its body was split in half, and the cut was even. It was obvious that it had been killed by a single slash. Not only that, but the destructive power of that slash was too great. The mountains in the distance were all split apart by that slash, and a terrifying transparent belt appeared. Shock, absolute shock. Countless people were stunned. They could not use words to describe their feelings at all, especially Su Lai. A deep sense of fear rose in his heart. That was a pure silver-colored demonic beast. It was equivalent to a peak third heaven venerable. However, it was killed by a single slash without being able to fight back at all. Lin Xian was too terrifying. When he thought of this, he wanted to slap himself a few times. One had to know that he had mocked and ridiculed Lin Xian before. Who knew if Lin Xian would come looking for him now? Su Lai's expression was extremely ugly. He even had the urge to run away. Chapter 933. Everyone else was shocked as well. Yang Hao and Qin Feng smiled bitterly. They didn't believe it at first, but now it seemed that the opponent's strength was beyond their imagination. However, these silver beasts probably had nothing to do with them. Buzz! In front of them, a silver light shone from the beast's body. Then a walnut-sized light ball slowly rose and floated in the sky. Silver Demon Core! Seeing this, everyone exclaimed again. Not only that, but everyone's eyes were filled with greed. Especially Su Lai and the others, they were all excited. Their eyes were burning, and they couldn't wait to attack. Feeling the change in everyone's emotions, Lin Xian snorted coldly. His voice contained a sharp aura and a hint of killing intent. Suddenly, everyone's body trembled and their eyes became clear again. Su Lai and the others were even more terrified. Cold sweat dripped down their foreheads, and their faces were filled with fear. If they didn't hold back their greed and rushed forward, they would definitely be killed by Lin Xian's sword. Thinking of this, countless people lowered their heads and held back the desire in their hearts. However, even though Lin Xian had intimidated everyone around him, he had neglected one thing, and that was the other 6 silver-colored beasts. Seeing the silver demon core, the other 6 silver beasts roared one by one. Their voices were filled with eagerness. In the next moment, the 6 beasts went berserk. The demonic aura on their bodies burned rapidly, forming into balls of silver flames that wrapped around them. Their aura also skyrocketed in an instant. Roar! The 6 beasts roared ferociously and rushed toward the pure silver demon core. Oh no, these beasts are going berserk. Seeing this, Su Yu and the others screamed. Seeing the silver-white demon core, the remaining 6 silver-ranked demon beasts' eyes turned red and they roared in anger. In the next moment, they all went berserk and rushed toward the pure silver demon core. Obviously, they wanted to swallow the pure silver demon core. This scene made everyone's expression change, especially Su Yu and the other 3. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. They didn't expect that the demon core would be so tempting. Lin Xian frowned slightly. Obviously, he didn't expect this to happen either. However, the silver-ranked demon core was something that he had his eyes on. He would not allow anyone else to fight for it, even if the other party had 6 silver-ranked demon beasts. With a cold snort, Lin Xian gripped the Lone Star sword once again and was about to attack. At this moment, a delicate shout came from the front, followed by a terrifying surge of spiritual energy. Murong Qingqing let out a delicate cry as her jade-like hands quickly slammed downwards. That palm was as white as jade as it slowly descended. Everyone was suspicious. They looked at each other in dismay because they didn't see the terrifying scene that they had imagined. However, in the next moment, their jaws dropped and their eyes were filled with shock, because at some point, 6 terrifying purple palms had appeared in the sky. The purple palm was the size of a house. Purple energy surged, and it carried with it a terrifying collision sound like thunder and lightning. The 6 purple palms that looked like gods and devils suddenly appeared above the 6 silver-ranked demonic beasts and slammed down on them. Bang! The earth trembled, and a terrifying tremor sounded out. Spiritual chi surged in all directions, and purple lightning descended. In the blink of an eye, the 6 silver-ranked beasts turned into blood mist. 6 palm prints appeared on the ground. They were so deep that they couldn't see the bottom, and they were emitting a terrifying aura. Seeing this scene, countless people were stunned, especially Su Lai and the others. They swallowed their saliva with difficulty. Many people were trembling, and their hearts were filled with fear. Those were 6 silver-ranked demonic beasts, which was equivalent to 6-level 3 supremacies. However, they were killed in an instant, and they were killed in a single blow. Such a method was truly heaven-defying. What exactly were those purple palms? Qin Feng and the others also looked at the sky solemnly. However, the sky had already regained its clarity, and the mysterious purple palms were nowhere to be seen. Lin Xian also raised his eyebrows in surprise. The purple palms appeared so suddenly that even he didn't notice them in advance. This girl's strength is so terrifying. Lin Xian was shocked. He realized that unless he used extreme speed to dodge the attack just now, he wouldn't be able to break through it at all. In the sky, it was as if the purple palms had never appeared. However, the 6 terrifying palm prints on the ground showed its power. There were also 6 silver-ranked demonic cores floating in the 6 palm prints, but their color was lighter than the previous one. Murong Qingqing waved her hand, and the 6 silver-ranked demonic cores flew into her hand. Then, the terrifying aura on his body quickly disappeared, and finally entered his body. In the next moment, Murong Qingqing's body floated like a purple ray of light, and she instantly arrived beside Lin Xian. She stretched out her lotus-like arm and gently opened her palm. 6 silver-ranked demonic cores appeared in front of Lin Xian's eyes. Including the one in Lin Xian's hand, there were a total of 7 demonic cores, and all of them were obtained by them. Lin Xian looked at the demonic cores in his hand, and his lips curled into a smile. His soul was outstanding, and naturally he could clearly feel the energy contained in the silver-ranked demonic cores. It definitely surpassed the thousands of bronze-ranked demonic cores in his hand. No wonder so many people were trying so hard to find silver-ranked demonic cores. It was not for other reasons, but the energy contained in the silver-ranked demonic cores was too terrifying. The silver-ranked demonic cores were probably the most precious things in this lair. I'll leave these demonic cores to you for safekeeping. Lin Xian smiled and placed the pure, silver-ranked demonic core in Murong Qingqing's hand. All right, then leave them with me for now. I'll help you keep them, Murong Qingqing said with a smile. Looking at the 7 silver-ranked demonic cores in Murong Qingqing's hand, Su Lai and the others' eyes burned with passion, and they could not wait to snatch them. However, in the end, he restrained himself, and at the same time let out a deep sigh. Regardless of whether it was Lin Xian or Murong Qingqing, the strength that they had displayed had completely surpassed theirs. Even if they had more people, they were afraid that they would not be able to defeat them. Lin Xian's sword had almost split the entire lair in half. None of them would have been able to block that sword. As for Murong Qingqing, they did not dare to provoke her, who knew when a terrifying purple palm would appear above their heads. Therefore, Although Chin Fong and the rest had burning eyes, they knew that this thing had nothing to do with them, especially Su Lai, who looked at Lin Xian with deep fear in his eyes. He did not even dare to raise his head, and did not even dare to stay here. If Lin Xian were to find trouble with him and settle the score with him, he would really be finished. Thinking of this, Su Lai's scalp went numb, and his heart was filled with fear. He quickly retreated and led his subordinates away. When Chin Fong and Yang Hao saw this, they also called their subordinates and left. Looking at the backs of the three teams, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, and a cold light bloomed in his eyes. Chapter 934. However, in the end he did not make a move. Forget it! They must have peed their pants by now. There was no need for him to threaten them. They would not dare to cause trouble for him in the future. Shaking his head slightly, Lin Xian ignored them. He picked up a silver demon core and gave it to Su Yu and the others. This, Su Yu and the others looked at the silver demon core in shock. They did not expect Lin Xian to give them one. They did not even make a move from the beginning to the end. Junior brother Lin, this is not appropriate. This thing is too precious. Su Yu shook her head. Although she was excited, she knew that this thing was too precious. She could not accept it. Senior sister Su, just take it. Without your information, we wouldn't have been able to come to this beast lair. Murong Qingqing also tried to persuade her. Junior sister Murong, I appreciate your kind intentions. However, to be honest, it is already a huge surprise for us to be able to obtain 700 bronze demon cores this time. We will not accept these silver demon cores. Su Yu shook her head. She was not a greedy person. She did not contribute at all during the battle, so she would feel uneasy if it was taken away. How about this? I will give you the bronze demon cores in my hand. Seeing that she insisted, Lin Xian did not force her. He took back the silver demon core and took out a storage bag. There were more than 1,000 bronze demon cores in it. Senior sister Su, don't refuse this time. Lin Xian handed over the storage bag. Thank you, junior brother Lin and junior sister Morong. In the end, Su Yu accepted the storage bag. At the same time, her beautiful eyes showed a touch of excitement. The two girls and the young man were also excited. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so generous and give them 1,000 bronze demon cores. Since there are no more silver demon beasts, there is no need to stay here. Let's leave quickly. Okay. Su Yu and the others nodded. Then Lin Xian and the others flew towards the exit of the monster lair. Not long after, they arrived near the exit. However, Lin Xian furrowed his brows because there were violent fluctuations of spiritual energy coming from the exit, as well as the sound of metal clashing. This time, not only Lin Xian, but Su Yu and the others also heard it because the fighting sounds were too intense. The sounds of fighting ahead made Lin Xian and the others frown. Furthermore, judging from the fluctuation of the aura, it shouldn't be a demonic beast. In that case, there was only one outcome left, and that was a battle between the students of the Immortal Martial Academy. The 6 of them didn't know what had happened, but they had a bad premonition in their hearts. Speed up, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then he took the lead and flew out. Everyone followed behind him and rushed towards the exit. This time their speed was very fast, so it didn't take long for them to arrive near the entrance of the demonic beast lair. The next moment, Lin Xian's frown deepened because he saw that most of the people from the 3 teams that had left earlier were lying on the ground, wailing in pain. Even Su Lai, Chin Fong, and the others were injured, and they looked ahead with anger. In front of them stood 2 figures, a man and a woman. The man was wearing a long black robe, and the woman was wearing a white dress. The 2 of them stood there casually, and their eyes were full of mockery. It was obvious that the 2 of them were the ones who had injured Su Lai and the others. Murong Qingqing and the others had also arrived. When they saw the wailing scene on the ground, their faces were extremely ugly. Moreover, the male and female figures who owed the fee were also looking at Lin Xian's group at this moment. Their eyes also contained a trace of ridicule. The black-white double ghosts, it's them. Su Yu saw the two figures in front of her and suddenly exclaimed, with a hint of fear in her voice, "The black-white double ghosts? Are they also from the college?" Lin Xian asked. Naturally, he could feel the fear in Su Yu's voice, which made him even more confused. One had to know that she had not shown such emotions when facing the 7 silver-ranked beasts earlier. They are indeed the students of the college. The man is the black devil, and the woman is the white devil. The two of them are cruel and often walk together, so they are called the black-white double ghosts. Su Yu's face was extremely ugly. The black-white double ghosts are very ruthless. Fighting and stealing are common for them. However, because they are very strong, very few people can compete with them. This has also made them even more famous. "Oh, you seem to know quite a lot," the White Fiend said in a strange tone. Hearing this, Su Yu's body trembled slightly, and a hint of fear appeared in her eyes. Lin Xian glanced at the other party coldly, then asked again, "How strong are they?" "I don't know, but they are very strong. The two of them once challenged Li Yunfei, but they were defeated. After that, they have not appeared for more than half a year. I didn't expect them to appear at the Monster Slayers gathering this time. They challenged Li Yunfei." Lin Xian whispered and narrowed his eyes. Although they were defeated in the end, those who dared to challenge Li Yunfei were definitely not weaklings. It seemed that the two of them were indeed very difficult to deal with. "Junior brother Lin, the two of them are ruthless. If possible, don't get into a conflict with them," Su Yu reminded him softly. "I'll try my best." Lin Xian took a deep breath. He did not want to cause unnecessary trouble, but it seemed that the other party did not intend to let them go. "Are you guys done talking?" At this time, the White Devil spoke again. "How is it, little brother? Do you understand our strength and style?" The White Devil asked softly. Her voice was very soft. If one did not know, they would think that she was the big sister next door. However, Lin Xian and the others did not think so, because the dozens of people lying on the ground were all injured by the two of them. "I do understand, but I don't know why you two are here. Are you waiting for us?" Lin Xian still had a smile on his face. He was not very nervous. "Waiting for you? You guessed right. We are indeed waiting for you," the White Devil said softly. Next to her, the Black Devil said coldly, "Since you know how strong we are, quickly hand over the silver demon core in your hands." "Yes, hand it over obediently, and you can avoid some physical pain. Otherwise, you'll be like them, begging for mercy on the ground." Next to her, the White Devil said with a smile. Hearing this, Su Yu and the others' faces became very ugly. Sure enough, these people were coming for them. Not only that, they wanted to snatch the silver demon core. With Lin Xian's character, he would definitely not agree. Su Yu tried to control her body, took a deep breath, and whispered, "If we fight later, we must help junior brother Lin. Even if we can't beat them, we have to do our best." Chapter 935. Hearing this, the remaining 3 nodded desperately. They had not known Lin Xian for a long time, but he had taken good care of them. Not only had he led them to the nest, but he had also given them an extra 1,000 green bronze demon cores. Now that Lin Xian was in trouble, of course, they would do their best to help. Murong Qingqing said slowly, "Don't worry, the situation won't be that bad." Lin Xian heard their words and sneered. "You two are really straightforward. No wonder you're called the black-white double demons. Cut the crap. We don't have time to waste with you. Hand over the silver demon cores, and we'll spare you the pain. Otherwise, we'll beat you until you hand them over. I have a bad temper, so I'll only give you one chance. Get lost, or face the consequences. Lin Xian said coldly. Su Yu and the others were stunned when they heard Lin Xian's words. Lin Xian was too domineering. Good, good, good. Hey laughed loudly. It seems that we haven't been out for a long time, and some people have forgotten our reputation. You're the first one who dares to talk to us like this. The next moment, Hey suddenly roared, and the spiritual energy on his body erupted like a volcano. A black long sword in his hand suddenly stabbed out. The long sword was about 5 feet long and 2 fingers wide. It was like a black poisonous snake, blooming with black light. Buzz! The jet black light condensed to form a huge crescent-shaped sword projection, which slashed down viciously. The wind whistled, and the spiritual energy surged. The black sword made an ear-piercing sound in the air, as if it was going to tear the entire space apart. The surrounding mountains and boulders were also turned into ashes under the aftermath of the sword chi. In the blink of an eye, the black sword had already arrived above Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face darkened. He snorted, and the cold air on his body surged. It quickly condensed into a large blue fist in front of him and blasted upward. Bang! A low sound was heard. The sword chi surged and spread in all directions. The cold air was extremely piercing. The two terrifying forces surged and finally disappeared in the air at the same time. He can block it? Behind, Bai Sha was also surprised. No wonder he had been in the limelight recently. It seemed that he had some ability. Lin Xian's reputation had spread throughout the academy recently, so the twin demons of black and white had naturally heard of him. However, they didn't take it to heart. As far as they were concerned, the other party was merely a brat who had just entered the academy. Back then, when they were all powerful, the other party was nowhere to be found. However, from the looks of it now, the other party wasn't completely useless. Kid, you're more capable than I thought. Hey Sha put away his black longsword and said coldly, if you don't want to hand over your silver demon core, that's fine too. As long as you leave the Lone Star sword behind, we'll let you leave safely and won't take your demon cores. Hee kid, the Lone Star sword is a waste in your hands. Only by handing it over to us can it flourish. With the Lone Star sword, we will definitely be able to kill Li Yunfei this time. He Sha's eyes were also burning with passion. If you want the Lone Star sword, we'll have to see if you have what it takes. Lin Xian's voice gradually turned cold. First, they wanted his demon core. Now, they wanted to snatch the Lone Star sword. Did they really think that he was a pushover? However, I think that even if you too have the Lone Star sword, you're still no match for Li Yunfei. Lin Xian sneered. Kid, what did you say? He Sha suddenly screamed. You're courting death. He Sha's face was gloomy and his voice was filled with murderous intent. Back then, when they had just entered the academy, they were also extremely ambitious. Together with the brother and sister, they could be said to be an invincible team. Very few people were their match. However, there was another person who had risen quickly at that time, and that was Li Yunfei. Moreover, his reputation was even greater than the brother and sisters. Naturally, the two of them were unwilling to fall behind. Hence, they decided to challenge Li Yunfei. However, what shocked them was that Li Yunfei had defeated the brother and sister in just one move. To them, that was simply humiliating. Hence, they didn't attempt to enter the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard again. Instead, they focused on cultivating and swore that they would definitely defeat Li Yunfei. However, as their cultivation increased, they became more aware of how terrifying Li Yunfei was. When they came out of seclusion this time, they found out that Lin Xian had a half Earth rank treasure and immediately had an idea. If they had a half Earth rank treasure, their strength would definitely increase exponentially. By then, their chances of defeating Li Yunfei would also greatly increase. Hence, the current situation had occurred. Now, Lin Xian had said that even if they had the Lone Star Sword, they would still be no match for Li Yunfei. This was definitely a stab to their sore spot. The black-white double demons were filled with murderous intent. They wanted nothing more than to tear each other apart. Kid, don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have some reputation. In front of us, you're nothing. Ever since I mentioned Li Yunfei's name, the two of you have become restless. Looks like Li Yunfei is really your inner demon. Someone who even has a flaw in his martial arts heart dares to be so arrogant in front of me? Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. You're courting death. He Sha was furious. The spiritual power on his body erupted and wrapped around him like a black flame. A violent and ferocious aura swept out in all directions. This aura is so powerful. Su Yu and the others' faces changed drastically. They did not expect the black-white double ghost's cultivation to increase so quickly. Compared to before, there was a world of difference. Judging by their aura, they had probably reached the peak of the third heaven of the honorable realm. Kid, I'll let you see the power of the black-white double ghosts today. He Sha's voice was cold and carried a strong murderous intent. Like a ghost, he flew out quickly and held the black longsword in his hand tightly. With a clang, the longsword was unsheathed. A sword light as black as ink surged out from the sword and turned into a sword light that was hundreds of feet long in the air, filling the surroundings. Black moon slash. With a roar, the black sword light that was hundreds of feet long in the sky surged and turned into a black moon. A shocking power was emitted from the black moon, causing people to tremble uncontrollably. He Sha waved his arm and the black longsword fell. The black moon in the sky also changed and smashed downward like a meteorite. Rumble! Before the black moon arrived, the aftershock had already penetrated the ground and countless terrifying cracks spread out in all directions. Su Yu and the others' faces changed drastically and they retreated quickly. They could not withstand the power at all. Murong Qingcheng also stepped lightly and landed in a safe area in the distance like a purple phantom. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He raised his head slightly and looked at the black moon in the sky. The aura on his body was also quickly condensing. Rumble! However, in the next moment, the black moon in the sky suddenly emitted a black light and instantly accelerated, directly enveloping Lin Xian. A strong wind blew in front of him and a black light quickly hit the ground, forming a black energy storm that quickly spread out in all directions. Wherever it passed, the ground was mercilessly torn apart. Countless mountains collapsed and half of the entire monster lair collapsed. Junior brother Lin. Su Yu and the others' faces changed drastically and they screamed. Chapter 936. Junior brother Lin. Seeing this, Su Yu and the others' expressions fell, and they cried out because they saw that Lin Xian was completely covered by the black moon. They could not imagine the consequences of being hit by such an attack. Murong Qingcheng did not scream, but her face was solemn, and there was even a trace of coldness in her eyes. An obscure and terrifying aura was quickly condensing in her body, and she was about to explode at any time. Ha 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 ha. You're so weak. I really don't know where you got your reputation from. He Sha stood proudly with a black long sword in his hand. He looked down at the energy storm with disdain. He had thought that Lin Xian was someone extraordinary when he saw how eloquent Lin Xian was. Now, it seemed that Lin Xian could not even block his sword. How ridiculous. You're really weak. Your attack is trash. You can't even break my defense. I don't know where you black-white double demons got your reputation. The same disdainful voice sounded, but this voice came from the energy storm. What? That's impossible. Heisha was stunned and then exclaimed. He was familiar with this voice. It was Lin Xian's voice, and it seemed that Lin Xian was not hurt at all. But how could that be? He could not believe it. Junior brother Lin. Su Yu and the others also exclaimed, and there was a touch of surprise in their eyes. Murong Qingqing, on the other hand, revealed a faint smile, and the horrifying energy inside her body also disappeared quietly. In the next moment, a red light suddenly bloomed in the black energy storm, like the sun, shining in all directions. Boom! A huge and majestic force rushed out from the center of the energy storm and quickly swept in all directions. Along with that force, the entire storm suddenly split open, and huge red palms stretched out from the ground. It was extremely terrifying. The entire black energy storm was forcefully torn apart by this palm. The red palm was dozens of feet tall, and it was bright red all over. It bloomed with a metallic light, and countless rays of light hung down, enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. There was a touch of disdain in the corner of his mouth, and his cold eyes looked forward. What? He's really fine. Heisha's pupils shrank when he saw this. That's impossible. Beside him, the white fiend screamed. She knew how powerful that black moonlight was. Most likely, no third heaven venerables would be able to block it. However, the other party was a second-rank venerable realm cultivator. Not only had he blocked the attack, he hadn't even suffered any injuries. This was too shocking. She couldn't believe it. Su Yu and the others were even more shocked. The energy shockwave from the black sword chi was already too much for them to bear. One could only imagine what kind of attack Lin Xian had to endure. But now, Lin Xian was completely fine. Although it was hard to believe, they were overjoyed. Lin Xian being fine was the best news for them. Murong Qingqing also breathed a sigh of relief. Although she believed in Lin Xian, the scene just now still made her heart skip a beat. Since you're done attacking, isn't it my turn now? Lin Xian said coldly. Then, his fingers moved quickly and formed a strange seal. Following his actions, the huge red palm above him quickly formed a seal. In the next moment, a blazing power gushed out from the huge red palm. Red light surged and quickly condensed. Countless flames danced and dyed the entire sky red. In the sea of fire, a clear voice was heard. Then a fiery red figure flew out and covered the entire sky. Vermilion bird seal. Following Lin Xian's shout, a vermilion bird was born from the fire. It looked like a real divine beast. Block it for me. Heisha roared, and an even more terrifying aura erupted from his body. He held his black sword tightly and quickly slashed out several sword chi. Bang! 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 In the void, a terrifying collision sound was heard. Although the black sword chi was terrifying, it was shattered by the vermilion bird in an even more powerful manner. With every sword chi that was shattered, Heisha's face turned paler. In the end, his entire arm was trembling slightly. One could imagine how terrifying his opponent's strength was. However, before he could recover from the shock, the huge vermilion bird was already in front of him. It spread its wings that were hundreds of feet long and covered the sky. Soon, it completely enveloped Heisha. In an instant, Heisha's body trembled. He had suffered an unimaginable attack. Terrifying flames quickly engulfed him and burned him fiercely. In the sky, the huge fiery red fireball burned and covered the entire sky. Although the crowd could not see the scene inside, they knew that Heisha was suffering unimaginable pain from the screams that came from time to time. Seeing this scene, Su Yu and the rest were stunned. They could not believe it. That was the powerful Heisha, who was at the peak of the third heaven of the venerable realm. Yet, he could not defeat Lin Xian in one move. Those teams that were originally injured also widened their eyes at this moment. Their faces were filled with horror, and they even forgot about the pain on their bodies. They knew how powerful Heisha was. He had defeated 3 of their teams by himself. It could even be said that they did not have the ability to resist in front of Heisha. But now, such a powerful martial artist actually could not beat Lin Xian. "You're courting death. Split it open." Beside him, Bai Sha's face was gloomy. She shouted, and a silver-white, long sword appeared in her hand. It was also extremely slender. The sword light surged and turned into a large white snake. It quickly rushed towards the sea of fire in the sky. At this moment, the sea of fire in the sky had already dimmed. Coupled with the attack of the sword, a crack was finally torn open. Soon, a figure appeared from the flames and landed on the ground below. Bang! Heisha landed heavily on the ground, creating a terrifying deep pit. The vibration caused the ground to shake continuously. Seeing this scene, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air again. Heisha was even more charred. He climbed up from the deep pit with difficulty and looked at the young figure in the sky with shock in his eyes. "Now, do you still dare to take the Lone Star Sword?" Lin Xian stood in the air and said coldly. Seeing the other party's expression, Heisha suddenly had a bad premonition. In the next moment, his expression changed drastically. He endured the pain on his body and quickly retreated. Sure enough, the ground where he was originally standing suddenly cracked open. Countless ice spikes pierced out from the ground like the spears of a demon god. Waves of icy aura bloomed and froze the entire ground. "Kid, how dare you?" Seeing this, Bai Sha shouted angrily. The white scale sword in her hand shone with silver light again. It was obvious that she was going to attack again. At this moment, a purple light flashed across the sky like purple lightning. A vast and terrifying aura instantly filled the entire sky. When the aura appeared, even Bai Sha's expression changed. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock, and she quickly turned her head. Not far away, there was a beautiful girl. At this moment, purple aura surrounded her body. Together with countless colorful clouds, she released a terrifying aura. Chapter 937. Looking at the beautiful girl in purple, Bai Sha's face finally became serious. Although she had noticed the other party before, she did not expect him to be so strong. However, just as Bai Sha was pinned down by Morong Qingcheng, the situation changed again. Another low voice rang out, followed by a figure crashing into the ground in a sorry state. Black Demon's body was covered in ice, and his whole body was frozen green. Looking at Lin Xian, who was slowly flying over from the sky, his face became very ugly. This time he was defeated. His opponent's strength was far beyond his imagination. "You dare to snatch the Lone Star sword with such strength?" Lin Xian looked at the sorry figure on the ground with a trace of disdain. "Don't be so smug. I admit that I underestimated you. But if you think that you can defeat us black, white, double demons, you are too naive." Black Demon stood up from the ground, removed the ice on his body, and said with a gloomy face. At the same time, Bai Sha's body swayed and came to Black Demon's side, looking at Lin Xian with a cold face. "Big brother, do we have to use that move?" "Yes, this kid is too much. We have to get rid of him." Black Demon gritted his teeth and said. Then a fierce light bloomed in his eyes. "Kid, this was originally prepared to deal with Li Yunfei. I didn't expect to use it on you. Well, I'll let you see the true power of us black, white, double demons." Black Demon's voice was cold with a murderous aura. He held the black long sword in his hand tightly, and a terrifying aura burst out from his body. Whoosh! 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 A gust of wind suddenly blew, and it became more and more intense. The gust of wind contained countless sword auras, forming sharp blades that scraped the mountain peak, cutting countless terrifying cracks. Looking at this terrifying scene, Su Yu and the others trembled slightly, and the shock in their eyes became more and more intense. Although Black Demon was suppressed by Lin Xian before, it had to be said that the black-white double demons were too famous. At least in Senmu College, they were definitely demon-like existences. Moreover, after such a long period of secluded cultivation, their strength was absolutely terrifying. Therefore, although Lin Xian was able to suppress the other party, it was inevitable that the other party would be careless. If the other party were to use his trump card now, it would be hard to tell who would win. The twin ghosts of Black and White were enraged as well, especially the Black Ghost. His face was extremely ferocious. The double ghosts of Black and White had shocked Senmu College. Originally, after coming out of seclusion, their strength had increased greatly, and their chances of winning against Li Yunfei had increased greatly. However, they didn't expect that they would be defeated by a new student before even meeting Li Yunfei. This was something they couldn't accept. Therefore, Black Fiend decided to use his new unique skill to teach the kid in front of him a lesson. Otherwise, if word of this got out, how would the black-white double demons survive in the future? Moreover, they were determined to obtain the Lone Star sword in the other party's hand. Therefore, no matter what the reason was, the twin ghosts of Black and White would attack with all their might. The black spiritual power on Heisha's body surged like a black flame. It danced and circled behind him to form a black full moon. Beside him, the white fiend also cried out. She released countless rays of silver light, which formed a white-scaled snake that coiled around her. The two of them went all out and no longer held back. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. The two of you actually attacked at the same time to bully a new student. Aren't you afraid of embarrassing yourself if word of this gets out? Seeing this, Su Yu couldn't hold back anymore. Although they couldn't help Lin Xian in terms of combat power, they wouldn't give in to the other party in terms of words. The black-white double ghosts are now ganging up on a new student. How shameless! However, the black ghost snorted coldly. What do you know? The black-white double ghosts are a team. Of course, we have to attack together. It doesn't matter if the other party is a new student or not. Even if he's an ant, the two of us will kill him at the same time. The twin demons of Black and White were not provoked by words at all. They were determined to take Lin Xian down together. Kid, as long as you kneel down and apologize obediently and hand over the Lone Star sword with both hands, I can let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences. As the black ghost's voice fell, their aura became stronger and stronger. The black moon behind them also turned black, as if it had floated from hell with a strange aura. Hearing the other party's threat, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and said coldly, I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and apologize. Promise me that you won't appear in front of me again. Perhaps I'll let bygones be bygones and forgive you this time. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences of angering me. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the eyelids of the surrounding people twitched. This guy was too arrogant. Didn't he see that the black-white double ghosts were obviously going to use their ultimate move? The fact that they dared to use this ultimate move against Li Yunfei was enough to show how terrifying their trump card was. Yet, Lin Xian still dared to be so arrogant. Was he really not afraid of death? Hearing Lin Xian's words, the black ghost was so angry that she laughed. Good. What an arrogant kid. I hope you can still be so arrogant later. The white ghost raised her eyebrows and said coldly, those who offend the black-white double ghosts will not have a good ending. Then the two of them walked toward Lin Xian step by step with cold expressions. With every step they took, their aura became stronger. In the end, their spiritual energy pressure merged and pressed toward Lin Xian. Do you want to attack together? Seeing this terrifying aura, Morong Qingqing also came to Lin Xian's side and asked with a solemn expression. Don't worry, I can still handle this situation. Lin Xian smiled and was very calm. If it was before, Lin Xian might not be able to compete with the black-white double ghosts. However, it was different now. His cultivation had broken through to the third heaven of the venerable realm, and his strength had increased by several times compared to before. Moreover, he had these two great weapons in his hands. One was the Lone Star Sword, and the other was the Red Lotus Gloves. Not to mention the black-white double ghosts. Even if Li Yunfei was here, Lin Xian would not be afraid. Seeing Lin Xian's confident smile, Murong Qingqing nodded and then retreated to the side. She knew that although Lin Xian was sometimes arrogant, he was not arrogant. Now that he said he could handle it, he definitely could. Seeing Murong Qingqing retreat, Suyu and the others said worriedly, "Junior sister Murong, can junior brother Lin really do it alone? Why don't we attack together? Even if we can't fight them, we should still be able to leave safely." "Don't worry, he'll be fine." Murong Qingqing smiled and then looked at the confident figure in front of her again. She did not know why, but she originally just wanted to rope him in and let him join her family's camp. However, after these days of contact, she had some other feelings in her heart. Chapter 938. She had never felt this way before, and she did not even know how to explain it. However, as Lin Xian did not appear frequently, his figure would often appear in her heart. Only then did Murong Qingqing realize that she might have fallen for Lin Xian. At first, she felt that it was inconceivable. Although Lin Xian was outstanding, according to the eyes of ordinary people, he was not worthy of her. In terms of family background, although Lin Xian's background was still uncertain, it was obvious that he was not from the House of Kings. Before this, countless disciples of the House of Kings had pursued her, but Murong Qingqing had never been moved. In terms of appearance, Lin Xian was extraordinarily handsome, but he was not the most handsome man in the world. In terms of strength and talent, Lin Xian was not the most powerful person in the Tianwu continent. However, Murong Qingqing had developed feelings for him. At this moment, Murong Qingqing looked at the figure in front of her and understood what attracted her. It was confidence, unyielding, and stubbornness. Seeing the confident smile on the other party's face, Murong Qingqing's lips also curled into a smile. Ever since she had known Lin Xian, she had never seen Lin Xian bow to anyone, whether it was the black, white, double demons, or the stronger opponents in the past. Even when facing the siege of many forces, Lin Xian was not afraid and retaliated angrily. Perhaps to some people, this was arrogance, insolence, and easy to break. However, for some reason, Murong Qingqing admired Lin Xian's attitude. Just like now, Lin Xian was facing the ferocious black, white, double demons alone, but he was not afraid. In front of her, Lin Xian naturally did not know what Murong Qingqing was thinking. At this moment, he was facing the combined attack of the black, white, double demons, and the atmosphere was extremely tense. It had to be said that the black, white double demons were incomparably powerful. At this moment, the terrifying pressure formed by the two of them was not something that any third-level venerable could resist. However, Lin Xian was not afraid of pressure. In fact, it did not affect him at all. Seeing that Lin Xian was still calm in the face of such a huge pressure, the black, white, double demons' faces darkened, and they snorted coldly. Suddenly, the aura of the two of them exploded like a flash flood. The black moon rose and hung in the sky, shining a black light in all directions. At the same time, a white silk serpent, with a terrifying sound, it was not any weaker than a silver-ranked demon beast. This is their martial souls. Su used to the black, white, double demon's aura. "Kid, accept your punishment." A cold voice sounded. Then the black, white double demons rushed over. The two of them were very fast, drawing two black and white rays of light in the void. "Black moon, white, white, white," two angry shouts rang out. The black moon and the white-scaled snake in the sky shone brightly at the same time as they rushed towards Lin Xian's location. Their martial souls worked together to seal off all of Lin Xian's escape routes. "Kid, let's see how you deal with our martial souls." Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile as he looked at the martial soul that was flying at high speed. He tapped his feet lightly, and his body swayed, leaving countless afterimages in the air. The next moment, the martial souls of the black, white double demons' martial souls landed, emitting a terrifying wave of energy that blasted all the afterimages away. However, the afterimages that were hit all turned into spiritual energy and merged into the void, while Lin Xian's real body disappeared. What a strange body movement! The white demon's voice was solemn, and he looked around. On the other hand, the black fiend's face was terrifyingly gloomy. This was because during the battle with Lin Xian earlier, the latter had relied on this strange movement technique to dodge most of its attacks. Behind, suddenly, the black demon frowned, turned around, and controlled the black moon above his head to attack behind him. He had suffered a loss before, so he paid special attention to Lin Xian's body movement this time. In addition, he used his martial soul to observe the surroundings, so he found Lin Xian's real body in the first moment. Beside him, the white demon heard the warning and did not hesitate. The white scale sword in his hand cooperated with the white spiritual snake and quickly stabbed behind him. Terrifying energy surged, and the void was mercilessly torn apart. Not far behind, a figure was shrouded by two forces, but it quickly turned into spiritual energy again and dissipated in the air. He dodged again. The white demon was surprised. He did not expect the other party to be able to dodge such an attack. "Be careful. This kid's body movement is very strange," the black demon reminded in a low voice. The black demon had to remind them. Although the two of them were very powerful together, if the other party used his strange body movement to attack one of them, it would definitely cause them a great difficulty. Although the two of them were on par in strength, the white demon was weaker. In addition, he had some experience fighting with the other party before. The black demon guessed that Lin Xian was likely to attack the white shark, so he quickly reminded the white demon. However, in the next moment, his pupils constricted because a figure had appeared on his left. On his right was the white demon, and on his left was naturally the enemy. The black demon's face was gloomy. He did not expect Lin Xian to find him. This was definitely a naked provocation. He sneered and stabbed out with the black sword in his hand. Countless sword chi surged and quickly stabbed towards Lin Xian. At the same time, an azure ice longsword appeared in Lin Xian's hand as well. As the long sword danced in the air, cold air gushed out from it. This was a half-earth-rank martial art he had obtained in the True Spirit Palace, the Four Seasons swordsmanship. He had already practiced it to the phenomenal success stage. At this moment, he used the ice sword and the sword of the east of the Four Seasons swordsmanship. The power was extremely terrifying. Ding, ding, ding. The sword chi collided and produced a sonorous sound. The black sword chi was completely blocked by Lin Xian. Lin Xian even stabbed out 2 more times. In an instant, the black demon's body was covered with a thick layer of ice again. "Ah, I'm going to kill you." The black demon roared, and the spiritual power in his body surged, shattering the layer of ice on his body. However, he was still extremely shocked. Now that he had attacked with all his strength and coupled with his martial soul, it could be said to be extremely powerful. The sword technique just now was definitely not something a third-stage venerable could handle. However, the other party had blocked all of it, which made him extremely shocked. Half-earth-rank martial art. I didn't expect you to have such a martial art. The black demon's face was gloomy as he clenched the black sword in his hand. "Big brother, are you all right?" the white demon asked. Below, Su Yueshao and the others were also shocked because they found that Lin Xian had suppressed the black demon once again. One had to know that the black demon's strength had increased by a lot compared to before. At least now, the other party had displayed the power of his martial soul. Kill! The black demon was really angry. He held the black sword in his hand, and his entire body emitted a monstrous killing intent. The other party had provoked him again and again, which made him unable to tolerate. Kid, don't think that you're the only one who has a half Earth-rank martial art. I have it too. His voice was very sharp. Accompanying his voice was a terrifying black sword light. Chapter 939. This was originally prepared for Li Yunfei. Now go to hell. Accompanied by He Sha's sinister voice, Bai Sha also roared and swam quickly. Like the black and white death aura, they continuously merged. A terrifying aura spread out from the two of them. Not only that, their martial souls also started to merge. The black moon gradually solidified and shrunk rapidly. In the end, it became the size of a millstone and was swallowed by the white spiritual snake. In the next moment, the white spiritual snake underwent a shocking change. It roared angrily, and black scales appeared among the silver-white scales on its body. Not only that, but a few huge claws appeared on its abdomen. The sharp claws danced and easily tore the void apart. Snake to flood dragon, this is a flood dragon! Su Yu and the rest were shocked and felt goosebumps. They did not expect the black-white double demons' martial souls to merge and evolve into a flood dragon martial soul. This was beyond their knowledge. No wonder they dared to use this move against Li Yunfei. Just the aura of the black and white flood dragon was not something a third heaven honorable could resist. At this moment, countless people felt uneasy and frantically retreated. The faces of the martial artists in the three teams changed drastically. Like frightened rabbits, they desperately flew into the distance. In an instant, only Lin Xian and the black-white double demons were left in the demonic beast lair. The entire demonic beast lair was shrouded in a terrifying black and white aura. It was dizzying and extremely oppressive. Not only that, countless black and white auras gathered under the feet of the black and white flood dragon, forming clouds. There were also streaks of lightning flashing within. A deep roar that sounded like a dragon's roar resounded in all directions. Following this terrifying roar, countless lightning flashed and fell rapidly, blasting in all directions. Rumble! The ground cracked and was charred black. The surroundings were filled with countless lightning bolts. It was extremely terrifying. The people outside had already left. When they heard the dragon's roar and the lightning, they were shocked and had no idea what was going on inside. However, judging from the terrifying aura, it was definitely extremely dangerous. They just did not know if Lin Xian could resist it. In the demonic beast lair, Lin Xian looked at the black and white flood dragon with a grave expression. Martial soul fusion. He muttered to himself as light flashed in his eyes. His opponent's martial spirit was very strange. It was actually able to fuse. This was completely beyond his understanding. However, this also made him extremely happy. Since the other party's martial spirits could fuse, then he alone had two martial spirits. If he could fuse them, what kind of changes would occur? He didn't dare to imagine it, but at the very least, its power would definitely be greater than the current one. Looks like these two guys have some good stuff on them. Lin Xian's eyes burned with passion as he stared at the black-white double demons. He decided to get the method of fusing martial spirits from the other party. However, if he wanted to snatch the other party's cultivation method, he had to defeat the other party first. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's eyes focused and he let out a long roar. His entire body exuded a sharp aura. Like a peerless divine sword, incomparably clever. With a clench of his fist, the wind shadow sword appeared in his hand, and the great dragon sword soul surged within his body. At that moment, a huge sword chi gushed out from Lin Xian's body, enveloping his entire body. It was incomparably sharp, and countless tiny sword chi swam around him. Fusion of the four seasons, splitting the heavens with a sword. Lin Xian shouted coldly. Then the long sword in his hand slashed out, and a sword chi flashed, quickly slashing towards the sky. This was the ultimate move of the four seasons, sword technique. The sword technique of the four seasons had fused together, and it contained a supreme sword intent, which was said to be able to split the heavens and earth. Sure enough, the moment the long sword slashed out, the entire ground cracked, and a crack that was almost 1,000 feet long appeared, as if the earth had been split open. The air was mercilessly torn apart. This sword chi was too sharp, and nothing could stop it. In the void, the sword chi that was hundreds of feet long slashed towards the black-white double demons. "You're courting death." Seeing that the other party dared to take the initiative to attack, the black-white double demons were infuriated. The two of them roared and controlled the black-white flood dragon in the air, rushing towards the sword chi in the sky. The black-white flood dragon roared, and with endless black-white chi and a sky full of lightning, it violently collided with the shocking sword chi. Boom! A terrifying sound rang out, and the entire space shook. The huge demonic beast lair was torn apart by the terrifying energy at this moment. The flood dragon roared, and lightning fell like a heavenly tribulation. Countless lightning bolts fell from the sky, drowning the entire space. And in this sea of lightning, a sword light soared into the sky like a startled swan, slicing the terrifying sea of lightning into two halves. Rumble! Countless lightning bolts appeared and blasted towards Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian's body was covered with a layer of red lotus battle armor, which completely blocked the violent lightning bolts. In the next moment, he raised his arm and slashed out with the wind shadow sword again. Another shocking sword chi flew out and slashed towards the sky. This sword was even more violent and biting cold than the previous one. Countless lightning bolts were cut in half in an instant, and the cuts were even. They could not even heal. What? How is this possible? Seeing this scene, the black-white double demons' hearts beat wildly. Originally, they thought that the previous attack was the limit of their opponent. However, they did not expect Lin Xian's next attack to be even more terrifying than the previous one. This was completely beyond their expectations. Under their horrified gazes, the black and white flood dragon was also hit by the sword. It screamed and flew backward. Their martial souls were impacted, and the black-white double demons turned pale and spat out a mouthful of blood. "Run!" The black demon roared and shot up into the sky. The white demon's face was pale, and he followed closely behind. His eyes were filled with fear. They did not expect their opponents, sword chi, to be so fierce. Even after martial soul fusion, they were no match for it. One had to know that that was their ultimate move. They knew that they were going to lose today. Facing Lin Xian, they had no chance of winning. In order to preserve their strength, the two of them could only leave. In the distance, the crowd saw the demonic beast lair split open, and they were dumbfounded. However, not long after, they saw the black-white double demons. They thought the battle was over, but then they saw the black-white double demons running away. Their expressions changed. How is this possible? The black-white double demons are running away? Su Yu and the others stuttered. Su Lai and the others' eyelids twitched as they stared blankly at the scene. In their opinion, Lin Xian was already good enough, but they did not expect the black-white double demons to be the ones running away. Seeing this, Murong Qingqing was completely relieved. He knew that Lin Xian had won this battle. There was no suspense. "Don't you think it's a little too late to leave now?" Lin Xian said coldly. Hearing this, the escaping black-white double demons trembled and almost fell. However, they gritted their teeth and sped up again. They swore that they would get their revenge in the future. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.